I'm live. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Normally I had music and stuff, but I thought I would just kind of not this time and just keep it chill. I caught someone else's live stream recently and it was just kind of nice to just like have it be normal and not a whole production. So I thought I would try that. So for anybody who's here already, because I can see we already have like 15 people, which is super cool. Hi, where's everybody at? 17 people. Oh wow. Where's everybody watching from today? Oh no, we lost one. Hey everybody. Here, I'm trying to let me open the chat in a separate window so I can actually see what people are saying. Let's see, where do I go? YouTube Studio. Go live. I am live. Manage stream. There it is. Whoa. There we go. Pop out chat window. That's what I want. Cool. It has been a bit. Hi from India. Hello. I'm in New York. In case you missed some of the updates, I'm in New York these days. Hi from Hamburg. Hey, Linus. How's it going? Hey, Pete. Cheers from Spain. Oh, I love the little face. Ohio. I thought Ohio was nice when I drove through it a couple times. Ohio was nicer than I thought it was going to be driving through. I didn't know anything about it, so I thought it was just like you go through, you drive. I've driven across the country so many times now at this point that you get used to like the middle just being like mostly empty. But I didn't. When I drove through Ohio, I'm like, wow, Ohio's so pretty. At least when you drive through it, maybe living there's different. I can relate to that because where I grew up, you might be like, wow, yeah, town in California. But the town where I grew up, dirt. Just dirt. Desert. So, you know. Anyway. What's better, streaming on Twitch versus YouTube? You mean what's better like strategy wise? Like which one should you do if you were gonna choose one, or which one do I enjoy more? Because there's not really like a better. Technically it's better for me to stream on either one in either case because like it's better for me to stream on Twitch because I used to do Twitch streaming almost full time, and so technically I had a really consistent audience there, but not anymore, so that doesn't really apply. But it's also better on YouTube because I have a bigger audience on YouTube, and so more people tend to see the live stream. But I like both. There's very different vibes, very different like streaming culture to be on either one. I think I like being on YouTube though. I think it's more. I don't know. Well, I like both. I miss the emotes. I really miss the emotes of Twitch. I wish YouTube had more of an emote culture. But they're both good. But I like YouTube these days. I'm gonna move this chat window a little bit taller so I can not have to look so far down. Um, and then I'm also gonna pull up. Where's that link? Hang on. Somewhere around here. Ooh, I lost it. Is it this? Nope. That's okay. I'll, I'll get it the long way. I have some fun announcements today, which you probably kind of got from the thumbnail of what you clicked. um, I'm going to be doing some stuff at Lightbox, which is, let me make this smaller. I feel like this is so bright. I don't know if you guys have heard of or been to Lightbox. It's a conference for animation and art in our industry, and it's every year in like October. This year it's at the end of October, and I'm going to be doing quite a bit of stuff there, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But I want to chat with you guys first, and then we'll get to that stuff. But just as a heads up, if you're like just popping in and you want to, I don't know, submit some ideas, I have two links in the description, which I guess I could also just share those in the chat here. Let's see. Lightbox requests. Requests. There's one link here. If you are interested in Lightbox and you want to, you know, throw out some suggestions, I'm doing some stuff. I'll talk about what I'm doing, but there's, some helpful stuff in that link. And then also upcoming animation classes, which I'm not really here to promote any classes today, but if you want to like vote essentially on kind of what the next wave of classes is, I have a bunch of stuff that I'm announcing at Lightbox. And so if you're interested in kind of saying, ooh, I want to take this one, I want to take these ones, or I have some ideas of stuff I wish that happened or whatever, so you can, there's those. You can check out those links. I should also copy those so I don't have to do that again later. Copy, paste, copy, paste. Yeah, all right, good. Anyways, we'll talk about that in a moment. First, I want to see how you guys are doing. Hey, Jen, watching from just south of you. East Coast, woo! I don't think there's not a good like East Coast saying. We used to say like West Coast is best coast, but there's not like an East Coast thing that I'm aware of to say. Texas takes for, oh, you're right. When you're driving across the country, Texas is so long. Yeah. Hey, so thanks for the video about export Maya animation to Blender. Really helped me to render my shots. Hey, cool. Glad it helped. That's one that I've been wanting to update forever. I did a video a long time ago on moving animation from Maya to Blender, and I don't know, I did that video, and then after like a month, I started to not like that video because I felt like I didn't do a very good job of it. So just for years, I've wanted to redo it, and so I did finally. I have a lot of those kind of videos that I exist on the channel, but I'm not happy with it anymore, and I want to redo it, and so there's a lot of that. Creative, it's the thing with creative people, right? Like we end up not being satisfied with any of our work. Let's see. Caster Games, how you doing? I'm doing good. How are you? Am I watching Digital Circus? No, well, I've caught clips. Like I've seen some of the episodes, but I haven't like properly watched it. I don't watch a lot of. It's on my list. I have like this endless list of things that I'd like to watch and that I have been meaning to watch and check out. And I just never get to it. But what I've seen is very well animated. Glitch does a really good job. I think they have a new series, a new show coming out. Some kind of 2D animation, something I feel like I saw. Hey, Ariana. I think I have a message from you. How are you doing? I need guidance in freelancing and animation. I'm currently working on a freelance animation project, actually. It's more of a, I'm more doing a favor for some friends, but it's kind of freelancy. Freelance animation, I mean, the best thing really is to have like a network for freelancing. It's very difficult to do freelance animation without some kind of a network. Like you've got to start connecting to people who are like doing stuff. I remember when I first left DreamWorks and I was first starting to do independent animation and freelance. It was so difficult to find actual paid animation work because no one online wants to pay for animation. There were so many questions of like, oh, can you put me in this web series? Can you make me a character? Can you do this? Can you do that? I don't really have a lot of money. And I was like, well, I had bills to pay. I was trying to, buy food. So I tried all those websites, Upwork and Indeed and whatever else that, the freelancer websites, and none of them worked for me. Maybe it worked for other people, but it wasn't a thing for me. Considered trying to do work on Fiverr. Not for me. I don't know. So the best thing I can suggest is basically make the stuff that you want to get hired to do and then post that stuff on the internet That way people can see what you are able to do, and then you'll get asked to do that kind of stuff more often than if you don't ever share any work. You'll just get the most random requests, and you'll never get to do the things you want to do. So hopefully that's kind of helpful. Hey Megan, I went last year, feeling the FOMO this year. Ah, that's well. So not going this year then. That's too bad. Hey Yuri. Hey, how you been? Are you gonna be doing more videos and classes in Unreal Engine? I still love Blender, but I'm moving more and more into Unreal. Yeah, I have. I've been. You know what's funny? What can I say about this? Yeah, I can say this at a top level. I'm working on a Corridor digital video right now, and I can't say what it is. I don't think. I'm sure I can't say what it is. 'Cause it's not like they announced their upcoming video, so I shouldn't say. But I'm working on a video for Corridor Digital right now, and doing some animation. And I was talking to Ren, and he was like, well, he had some stuff to export to me, and he was like, "Oh, well, like you use Maya mostly, right?" And I was like, "At this point, I'm most comfortable in Maya. Like I for animation work, I am best in Maya. That's like my best tool and where I'm most comfortable because I've used it for the longest and I know it so well. But at this point, I would now rank Unreal Engine as my second go-to, and then Blender's my number three. But when I got the assets that I'm working with, I got some skinned meshes. In Unreal, we would call that a skeletal mesh. But I basically got a an entity. I received an entity that has bones inside. There's no rig, but it's just bones and it's skin, so it can like move, but there's no rig attached to it, right? And I'm doing the entire thing currently. So far, I'm doing the entire thing in Unreal. I'm doing all the animation in Unreal. I rigged it and I'm animating everything I'm doing in Unreal currently, and it's so much faster. Not because Unreal's so much faster than Maya, but because what you can do in Unreal is so cool and so different and so much more powerful in certain ways than anything you can do in Maya or in Blender. And so for this project, I was like, oh, this is going to be a way better workflow. And so anyway, um, long thing to say. I'm doing a lot of work in Unreal, and typically I've done most of my animation in Unreal because I'm trying to get really good at it. And yes, there will be lots of videos about it. And I'll probably make a video about the thing I'm doing for Corridor, which is cool. So yes, I will be doing more videos and more classes in Unreal, and I'll have actually maybe this is a good time to segue into Lightbox a little bit. I will be doing a talk. I'm actually doing two talks at Lightbox. So here, let me do this. Let me do. Let's pull up the Lightbox website. Oops, that's the wrong button. Lightbox Expo. Here we go. How do I do this? I go screen, mix. So, um, Lightbox. Lightbox, which I've done a video on Lightbox, actually a couple videos in the past, but Lightbox is a super cool event. I really like it. It's like the main, I don't know, it's like the main conference for artists in our industry. And if you come up to the show info, it's going to be in Pasadena at the end of October. There's still tickets available if you guys are thinking about it. Let me see, where am I going? I'm going to participants. A bunch of people are there, a lot of cool speakers and such. If we click on the S, and we find me, yay! Here's me. I will have a booth. Woo! I've never had a booth at Lightbox before, but I'm gonna have a booth. I'm also speaking. I'm giving two talks, and I'm in the way. I need to move this over. There. Yeah. So I'm giving a talk on Saturday about basically going independent and working outside of the studio system, and then I'm giving a talk on Sunday, Unreal Engine for 3D artists, and I'm showing some cool stuff that you can do and explaining, I don't know, things. And so these are two big things I'm doing. The booth is going to be a really, really big thing that I'm doing. And I've got a third thing that I'm not ready to announce yet. Probably need another week or so to finalize a few more details about the third thing. But the third thing is definitely the most exciting thing, but it's a surprise. It's a secret for now. I'll talk about it later on. Also, I was thinking about going live every Friday this month just for fun because Lightbox is at the end of the month, and I thought that these like Friday live streams could just be like a fun thing to do. I don't have anything to like promote or talk about. I often do live streams when I'm like getting ready to like launch classes and I want to make sure people know about it. I will have a lot of class announcements and stuff at Lightbox. I'm going to be doing a lot of things throughout the month. It's just sort of, there's going to be a lot of cool announcements and stuff at Lightbox. So there's that. But I just thought it'd be fun to do some live streams, just hang out. So anyway, if anyone's going to be going to Pasadena for Lightbox, come to my talks. I don't know if they're planning on recording all the talks. I think their default is to record them unless you ask them not to, if I remember right. And I'm fine with my Unreal Engine one being recorded and shared because I'm doing a lot of Unreal Engine stuff, and so that might end up on YouTube at some point. I'm also doing a bunch of work with Epic Games right now for stuff that I can't really talk about at the moment either. But yeah, I've got Unreal classes and videos. I'm working with Epic to put out some really, really cool stuff probably soon. There's some really cool stuff that, again, Lightbox, I'll get to reveal some things. And then I'm also working with, well, I'm potentially going to be working with a couple of like other groups, other schools, other groups, other things, other programs to everyone wants Unreal training and wants some kind of Unreal class or something. And so I've had a lot of people approach me and say, hey, can you help us build classes for this stuff? And so I've been doing a lot. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I was just in Singapore. I'm teaching a virtual production like training workshop. I'm supervising. I'm the VAD supervisor, which is virtual art department. I'm the virtual art department supervisor for this like virtual production program in Singapore that goes on for like 4 months. And anyway, yeah, I'm doing that until like November. So I've been very busy. A lot of Unreal. Anyways, this one, however, this talk is not going to be recorded because this whole talk is a lot more like personal, and it's a lot more of the behind the scenes of my stuff. And I'm gonna share some pie charts of like, I don't know, like the finances of being independent. And I don't really want that on YouTube unless like I control the video, because I don't know. I just, I want people to be able to ask questions and stuff, and I also don't know if I want all the answers just put on YouTube. So I don't know what's gonna happen. Anyway, Lightbox. But what I'm going to be doing at the booth is going to be really cool. I'll have more details to share again in like a week or two. But if there's any animators here that, check. Okay, good. I thought my microphone died for a second. If there's any animators here that are going to be at Lightbox and want to be involved in any sort of community stuff at Lightbox, essentially I'm trying to make my booth like the hub, the resource place to be. Switch this back now. I'm trying to make my booth like the place to be for animators. That's like my main goal is to make the spot for animation at Lightbox. So if there's any animators who want to get involved with that, send me an email, DM me on Instagram, DM me on LinkedIn, and let's talk. But if you're looking to get your reel reviewed, get your shots looked at, if you're looking for other cool stuff, I've got stuff being planned here. Anyways, that's some Lightbox stuff. The chat really slowed down as soon as I started talking about this. I'm still connected, right? I'm still live. I think I am. Actually, don't know where my YouTube Studio window went. It's weird. totally lost it. There it is. Okay, good. It just got really quiet in the chat. I was like, oh no, have I lost my connection? Let's see. So back to the chat. Is FMX an event you have or are interested in going to? FMX, I don't think I know it. I feel like I've heard of that, but I don't remember what that is. FMX. It's not on my radar. Should it be? What is it? Should do one for Blender to Unreal for UDIMs. Oh, that's a good idea. Blender to Unreal for UDIMs. Yeah, UDIMs. That's a good idea. I almost feel like Jen would have a video on that. Maybe. I haven't caught up with the recent tutorials, but I feel like that would be something that Jen may have made a video on. I could be wrong. Are you going to be doing? Oh, I answered that. Knights of Guinevere is a new glitch show. Yeah, that's what I was. That's what I saw somewhere. We suggest to get a friend that has also never watched stuff and watch it with them. That way, you're more likely to watch stuff. Yeah, yeah. I need more time. I would love to have more. I wish I had more friends that liked the same things that I like in terms of like games and shows and stuff. Like I think I like I think a lot of the people I'm friends with have like the same interests roughly, but like I've found the games, for example, the games I really want to play, it's not the same. Like I don't know anyone who wants to play the games that I want to play. Like there's certain games, Zelda, or I don't know, certain indie games or certain games that like Kirby Air Riders coming up on the Nintendo Switch 2, which I don't have a Switch 2 yet, but I might have to get it for Kirby Air Riders because I loved Kirby Air Ride. I have a friend who like we love all those same games, but those aren't like the games that I'm like. That's not Zelda's not a multiplayer experience, right? I guess without mods or something. The games that I've been like itching to play. I was on the Fallout 76 beta when it first launched. Actually, I don't know if you can see it. I guess you can't see it quite. I have the power armor helmet over here. You can kind of see. I have the Pip Boy here. Hang on. The Pip Boy. I'm a big fan of Fallout. I was on the Fallout 76 beta, and I had a really good time. I didn't have the miserable time that people were like, "Ah, it's so buggy," blah blah blah. I liked it, and but online like live games that you can't pause on a live server, they freak me out. They give me such anxiety. And it's like I want to play with someone, with people, but I don't have anyone to play with. So I struggle. I struggle to play. I still have never really I haven't played. I mean, I play here and there, but it's not like meaningful. I haven't played meaningfully ever that game because it's just I don't know. Freaks me out. I'm a total wuss in video games. I'm like afraid of everything. I don't like scary things. And I find it scary when I can't pause. I'm like, "Oh no." I don't know. But then other games like Project Zomboid. I'm really interested in playing Project Zomboid. It looks like so much fun. I like deep immersion and long playthrough times and exploration. Those are games I really enjoy. Any game where it's about exploration, you play for a long time and you really immerse yourself in the game, in the story, in the characters, like in whatever you're doing and whatever you kind of choose to do in that game. That's my play style. That's what I like. And I don't have any friends that I know of that play that play that way, which is such a bummer. So like I don't have anyone to play with, and so I always have to play alone whenever I do play games. Because the friends I've had throughout my life, people have been like almost entirely either like first person shooter competitive gamers or like fighting games like Super Smash Brothers. Like love Super Smash Bros. I will play Smash anytime and I will win every time. Um, I love Smash, but you know, that's a fun party game, and I like to play it, and I'll play it for a long time. Like I don't get fatigued on video games. I don't have like, okay, that was enough rounds. That was 5 rounds. I'm done. Like I could play for hours. I'm like, you know how beagles don't like the dog breed beagles. They don't have whatever mechanism in their body that like when you're eating and you're eating and you're like, I'm kind of full. I'm gonna stop. Beagles don't have that. They will just eat and eat and eat and eat, and so they'll just eat until they get huge. That's me with video games. I don't have the mechanism that goes, I'm tired of this. I've been playing for hours. I will just play until I'm forced to stop. Oh yeah, my wife is here in the chat and she can testify to that. When I went to when I went when Tears of the Kingdom came out, so excited for Tears of the Kingdom. When Tears of the Kingdom came out, I like set aside like a weekend, or I think it was like 3 days, but it wasn't. I think it was like a Thursday, Friday, some weird collection of days. But I set aside like a weekend's worth of time, and I was like, "This is my time to play Tears of the Kingdom." And I didn't beat it in that time because I was playing side content and other things. But I, I think I got on one day at like I don't know, probably like 4 p.m. I think I had just taught a class. I had just finished teaching like a Maya class or an animation class of some kind. I was doing some kind of workshop, and I see someone spamming. Don't spam. I see the same message already being written like 3 times. Don't spam or I won't answer it. Just I see it. I'll get to it. I got you. Hang tight. Um, but I got to the anyway. I finished my class. I got home and I was like, it's time to play Tears of the Kingdom. And I got on at like 4 p.m. and I played. And then it was like midnight and I was like, I'm gonna keep playing. I'm gonna play all night. I planned to play all night. And then it was then like 6 a.m. And then it was like 9 a.m. And I was like, oh, it's time for breakfast. That's okay. I'll eat later. And then it was suddenly lunchtime. And then it was like, oh, it's 4 p.m. again. I've been playing for 24 hours. Well, I'm not quite done yet. And then I kept playing. And then it was 10 p.m. And then it was 2 a.m. again. And then it was like 4 in the morning again. And I was like, I'm just going to keep going. And then I think Jess came downstairs and was like, in the apartment we were living in, she's like, it's time to go to sleep. You can rest and then play some more. And I was like, okay. And I went to bed. And then I played some more the next day. But I played for like I think like a 36 or 40 hour straight, or not 40. I think it was like 30 something hours. But it just and yeah, she kept bringing me food so that I would not cease to be, which was very nice. I love games, and I have no switch that makes me say I should stop now. A healthy person would stop now. I will not. So anyway, I don't. I is if anyone here likes to game and likes those kind of sort of like exploration titles, I mean that's what I always liked about Minecraft, right? It's just a game about exploration, and you like decide what you want the game to be. I always like that kind of stuff. So Project Zomboid, Fallout 76, those kinds of games. If anyone's interested. I even said something to this effect at the end of one of my recent videos where I was like, "Hey, if anyone wants to play games, looking for people to play with because I don't know anyone who plays these games." Anyways, let me scroll up a little bit. I'm gonna keep going through chat in the order of the messages so I don't lose anything because I don't like to miss messages. If I do my best not to miss things. Let's see. Can I just say that after so long, so many things have just hit me in the head with animation and all I've learned over the years, it really did put me in shock. Like, how could I have not caught on? I feel like that's the thing with animation is like you will be presented with information and you'll take some information from it and you'll be like, wow, yeah, that's really helpful. And then you'll like continue to learn and grow. And then you'll come back later and look at that same information and get a whole different like experience from it. Be like, oh, I missed so much of the information that was being shared. Like I wasn't ready for it, so I didn't get it. And you know, it's a process for sure. I'm from Bangladesh. Hi. I love Maya because it's awesome. What about Maya voxels? Maya voxels? You just mean like Bifrost stuff or voxels in general is like a 3D pixel? It's cool stuff. I don't know. Ariana's still here. Hi. Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. Everyone's like, yes, still alive. Yes, that's when I was still. That's when I was confused. Thank you. I think the biggest struggle at Lightbox last year was finding 3D animators. I only met a couple in the waiting area for portfolio reviews, so making an animator hangout is a great idea. Thank you. Yeah, that's how I feel. Every year I go to Lightbox, and that's the general feedback I get from animation. Is every animator pretty much goes to Lightbox hoping that there's going to be some stuff for animators, and then we find a few things, and everyone's like, "Oh, I was really hoping there'd be more animation stuff this year." And I'm tired of that being the case. And I don't think Lightbox is really focused on animators because they're more focused on pre-production departments, concept art, character design, illustration, that kind of thing. Uh, and so, which is fine. That's their main focus, and they have stuff for animation and shot artists as well, but it's not their priority, I think, to expand that because they've already got so much to do over there. So that's why I decided to take it on myself this year. I mean, not like officially. I'm not like doing it on behalf of Lightbox, but I wanted to make it happen. And so I have my talks, which are not exactly animation focused. They're for animators or for anybody that would find it useful. It's a little bit more broad, but my booth is very animation focused. And so I'm hoping that my booth will be sort of, if someone goes to Lightbox hoping to, as an animator or trying to get a job in animation or whatever, with animation as their focus, I'm hoping that they'll find some cool stuff throughout Lightbox, but that my booth is the thing they go, oh man, like that was the reason I went. There was so much stuff there just for me. And then there's that additional surprise that I'm not yet ready to announce that I think is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really, really cool. But I'm confirming details. And I think I need another week or so to make sure it's all good to announce. I play Project Zomboid. The game is fun, but when you die, you gotta make a new character. Yeah, I don't mind that, but I think that's why I want to play with a friend because it's just it's a lot of pressure. Tekken isn't my game, but Jess is really good at it. Jess is like strangely good at Tekken. She's like excellent at it, and so I'll play with her when she's playing. I'll play Tekken, but I don't play it on my own because I've never been much for fighting games besides Smash. I guess I like Street Fighter as a kid, but that's kind of it. Are you doing Blocktober this year? Blocktober? Is that like animation blocking? No, I wasn't. I have not even. I didn't know that was the thing. I have one thing done and another much larger one started. That's cool. No, that would have been cool. No, I think I'm only 3 days into the month. I guess we're all only 3 days into the month, but I'm already busy, very busy this month. I don't have enough time to do like a challenge. Let's see. Oh, my chat just jumped. What the heck? Please help. I did the walk cycle and tried to make it a progressive walk cycle and copy the initial half curve of the foot behind and pasted it onto the main control with cycle with offset, but it's sliding. Wait, hold on. Let me read that closer. Praveen says, please help. I did the walk cycle. I tried to make it a progressive walk cycle and copy the initial half curve of the foot behind and paste it on the main control with cycle with offset, but it's sliding. So if I'm understanding correctly, I think you're saying it's one of two things, right? Or I guess it's one of. I think that you have like a foot step, like you've done like a cycle. Oh, okay. So I think you maybe started like doing a walk, and you want it to like do, right? You want it to like loop with infinity curves and go off into the distance. And so you try to make a progressive walk. That's what I'm interpreting progressive walk cycle as. And you want to copy the initial half curve of the foot behind and then paste it on the main control with cycle, with offset, but it's sliding. So foot sliding, the first thing I'll say, chances are I mean, I don't know for sure, right? Because I obviously can't see your file right now. But chances are, if you're doing a walk cycle and you've done, some kind of something, especially if you started in place, if you started with your stuff like as a treadmill walk in place, and then you're trying to convert it to move through space after, what almost always happens to people is you animate here and you have auto interpolation for your curves. So your feet, your the dragging back motion of each foot before it picks up and takes another step, right? Because if you take a step and then you go forward, that foot drags back. As you step forward, that foot's going to drag backwards. In a treadmill, right? Treadmill is going to drag backwards, drag backwards, drag backwards, right? That drag, depending on how you're doing it, whatever that foot motion is doing, that's usually an auto interpolated spline, which you don't want. It should be a linear spline. It should drag back at a constant speed of the walk, not slow, fast, slow, which is what it defaults to. So that's one of the easiest things to get tripped up on, so that once you cycle that, you end up, and then you have the whole walk translate forward. If you're using like the main, like the root or something to try and move the whole walk system, you will always have foot sliding if you do that. So that's my first guess of what might be happening to you if you're having sliding. It might be something else, but I have a feeling that that's what you're describing, and I think that's what it sounds like. If you're taking the curve of the foot and you're pacing on the main cycle with control with an offset, that's why I think you might have foot sliding. Is you got to make sure that your feet drag on the ground is set to linear. But if that's not the issue, I see a comment somewhere there, but for sure, that's why Animbot is so powerful, because you have all kinds of tools. You don't have to have Animbot. You can do it manually with locators and constraints, but it's kind of a pain. It's so much easier with Animbot to just like lock something into world space, copy paste values. Like, it's super nice. And that's something I think I have in my technical animation class, which I think is still available. Like, if anybody heard me just say everything I just said and like, that was a lot. What? Where can I just like look that up separately? I have a technical animation class on my course website, and covers that kind of stuff. But also, there's stuff at Lightbox I'll be announcing that'll also talk about that kind of stuff. I don't know if I ever mentioned it, but you should come to Industry Giants here in Dallas. It's coming up tomorrow, but it'll happen again next year. Oh, Tim's gonna be there. That's cool. Uh, Industry Giants here in Dallas? I don't know what that is. I'm gonna have to look that up. Industry Giants, Dallas. Oh, an animation event. Oh, that's cool. Wonderful day of inspirational speakers, portfolio reviews, figure drawing, artist alley, and networking. Industry professionals for animation, visual effects, and games, and students. That's cool. Oh, I'd never heard of this before. Huh. Very cool. Yeah, I would love to attend sometime. Obviously a little late this time, but if anybody's like involved in this and next year wants to check in about it, I'm happy to participate. That's cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out sometime. I feel like there's a lot of these little animation events that pop up that I miss. I always miss them because I find out like the day before or like a week after. That's very cool though. Tell Tim I say hi. For me, if I'm not getting 100 hours out of a AAA game, then it ain't getting my money's worth. Yeah, 100 hours is a lot. I guess I would say the only thing I would say, I think that's fair, but there are certain games that I have not played for 100 hours that were so worth it. Like the new God of War games, incredible games, incredible story. Ah, wonderful experience. I don't think I played those games for 100 hours each, but I'd buy them twice to play them. I would buy it twice again to play it for the first time again. It was so good. One of my favorite like gaming experience, like gaming storytelling experiences. Same with the Spider-Man games on PlayStation. The new Spider-Man games, Spider-Man, Spider-Man Miles Morales, and Spider-Man 2. Particularly, Miles Morales was a really short game, but like Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation, the the game one from Insomniac. Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man movie I've ever played. Like, I think the story in Spider-Man 2 is like it's better than some of the Spider-Man movies. It was so good. And in Venom was done justice. I always loved Venom as a kid, but I'm not into the Venom movies that we have right now. I like Tom Hardy, but like I'm not into the Venom movies. It's not what I wanted, really. But Spider-Man 2, that's what I wanted. All right. I'm way behind in the chat right now. So if you've been sending me messages and I'm like talking about other things, it's because I'm trying to read things in order and I'm so slow. So I'm going to try and speed up. Da, 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 da. Let's see. Scroll, 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 scroll. Had to stop playing on the Xbox so I could use that time for learning. That's fair. There's this game called Peak that's on Steam. Oh, I've seen that game. The one with the mountain climbing thing. See, I have that on my wish list, but that's a game you need with friends, and I don't know anybody who plays it. Sometimes I wish that when I got into content and streaming, that I had well, not even sometimes. I had originally wanted to do like game streaming and like gameplay stuff, and I tried to do back in like 2013, 2012, 2013, yeah, in 2012 or 2013, I tried to do like Minecraft Let's Plays and stuff like that. But the friends that I had at the time were lame. And I was like, let's all like play together and let's like make videos. And it wasn't even like, let's be content creators because that wasn't a thing yet, really. I mean, like it was a thing, but like it wasn't like a known thing that I was like aiming for. I was more just like, this will be fun. We should like do this. We should like play games. We should make videos and it'd be super fun, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay, grab the game, buy the game. Like everyone buy Minecraft. It's like $10 or $20 at the time. And they're like, ah. And so I bought keys for everybody. There were like three of us. And so I bought two additional game keys. And then I like did all the research. I'm like, okay, here's how we stream and here's how we record and like let's jump on and play. And they never I think we got on once. We got on once for an hour and they would like they didn't talk. They didn't say a word as soon as we started. They just like stopped talking. And then they just like went and did other things and they were like so unserious and not in like a fun like ah ha ha goofing off. They were just so uninterested in actually like participating or helping or like doing it or whatever. And at the time I didn't feel like I could do it alone because I didn't really have the confidence to do it by myself and so I I needed some help and some support and I didn't have that from my friends at the time. And surprise, surprise, none of us were friends anymore, which was a bummer at the time. But looking back, yeah, no, it just it's how it goes. So anyway, I always wanted to do game stuff on like videos and stuff, and even today, I see all these content creators doing gaming, like gaming creators, and I always watch them, and I'm just like, there's a part of me that's like, oh, I wish I were one of you. I wish I could participate. I wish I were also doing that to a certain extent because I like what I do, but also it looks like so much fun to play games with people. It looks like so much fun to have friends and play games with other people. And I'm just a single player person at this point. I don't do multiplayer. I'd like to, but I don't. So anyway, woe is me. No, Peak looks like a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun to watch. I would like to try it at some point. Oh my god! Imagine having a mini Super Smash tournament at your Lightbox booth. Oh, that's kind of genius. Oh my god, a mini Super Smash tournament at my Lightbox booth. Imagine. Okay, hold on, hold on. We got to think about this for a second. We got to think about this. What if? So, okay, one of the things we're doing at Lightbox is I'm going to be doing some giveaways. I don't have the details on everything yet, but I know for sure there's going to be some giveaways at Lightbox that I'm going to be doing. Um, I have a handful of stuff that I'm going to be giving away, some different things that I'm arranging, and then I've been trying to get sponsors involved so that there's like cool, also new fancy stuff. Yeah, I won't say details yet until I know for sure, but imagine that I leave, some prize, some giveaway item is actually like, and this you must win the Super Smash tournament. That's such a good idea. I'm gonna write that down. Hang on a second. Let me find my notes. I gotta find my Lightbox notes and I gotta write that down because that's brilliant. Give me a second. Where is it? 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 Official planning. Here it is. Let me go over here. Is my booth section. Here it is. Imagining having a Super Smash Bros. Tournament at the Lightbox booth. All right. Smart. Smart, smart, smart. Writing that down. All the best ideas come from my wife. All right. FMX is more of a VFX talk in Germany, also supported by many animator speakers. Should check it out. Oh, that's cool. My university based in Sweden has a nice booth there every year. I would love to do more animation and effects and game conferences internationally. I really want to go to more events outside the US. So, yes, please. Sign me up. Let's see. Love that we're troubleshooting this walk cycle issue. It would be much easier if we could see the problem, but there's not really a way to do that on YouTube, unfortunately. And I don't really have anything set up to like file share at the moment. Hello from Australia. Actually, wait, hold on. I actually will take a second. This probably won't help you, Praveen. I'm sorry. But one thing that I'm looking to do at Lightbox is animation tech support. That's like a thing that I thought of to do at the booth is animation tech support. And so at my booth at Lightbox, if you're struggling with something in your shot, I'm going to have a whole setup at the booth to be doing like demos and showing stuff off in Maya, Blender, Unreal, whatever, and just to be generally helpful. And there's demos and other things that I'm going to want to happen at the booth. But one of the things I thought would be kind of cool is animation tech support. That if you are having problems with your shot or in general you struggle with certain things, you can come to the booth and I will show you how to fix it. And if you have the file, like if you have your file synced to drive or you have it on a flash drive or whatever, I mean, I'd prefer something. I don't know. I don't really want to stick a bunch of random USB drives into my system at a conference. It's not like super secure, but at the same time, I won't really be able to rely on the conference internet either. So, I mean, if you have like it on a laptop, we'll figure it out. Anyway, but that'd be kind of cool. Animation tech support. Let's see. Blocktober's blocking out levels or props or environments. Oh, whatever you want. I just thought it could be something you could do. That's cool. That's really cool. I didn't know about that. I'm so out of the loop on these things. Let's see. Anyone know what SIGGRAPH is like these days? I haven't gone since 2019. I went to SIGGRAPH. I've been to SIGGRAPH every year except for this year. Well, not every year. I've been going for the last couple of years. The last several years. I think I've gone every year since like 2022 or 2023 in the recent run since COVID. But I did not go this year. I was too busy. But I liked it a lot last year. Last year was the weird year where it was in Colorado. Usually SIGGRAPH switches between LA and Vancouver. And it was in Colorado or Denver. It was in Denver last year for some reason. And which I guess is maybe where it was first or something. I forget. But I really liked it. I like SIGGRAPH a lot. It's one of my favorite conferences. And I don't know, it's pretty poppin'. Like there's a lot of people that go, and there's a lot of cool stuff, and it's more technical and all. But I'd say generally worth attending. The talk part is really expensive though, because they're basically expecting studio people to pay for it. So it's really just like the floor, the expo floor, or if you're a student, there's some cool stuff. But if you want to like attend talks, I think it's kind of expensive for a ticket unless you can find one of the discounts or something. What's up, Connor? Hey, how you been? Uh, in case anybody's curious what the build event was, the build event was like a filmmake. Well, is it filmmaking? I guess it was like a film. Yeah, it was B&H Photo put on a conference. It was a free conference in New York where they brought in all these speakers and all these people um, to show off all this stuff about filmmaking. There were tons of different tracks for like photography, videography. I did a visual effects talk. I met Connor there. It was a lot of fun. How you been? Yeah, at that talk, I gave a whole visual effects presentation, which by the way is actually on YouTube. I should show this to you guys. I haven't promoted this because I only just saw it when I got back from Singapore. Build VFX, Sir Wade. B&H Photo. How do I find it? Their SEO is kind of rough. Oh, here we go. Hey, I will show you this. How do I show you this? Whoop. Beyond Motion Graphics, Practical Animation and Visual Effects, Build 2025. Yes, yes, yes. There's me giving a talk. Let me share this link with you guys. Oop, that's the chat. Whoop. In case anyone's curious and wants to watch it, this is a talk I gave. It's 45 minutes on animation and visual effects. I think it was a fun little presentation. I basically go through all the different types of visual effects that can be done. So I talk about like, I start off with like, there's motion graphics and it's like sliders and things. And then there's like some tips and tricks and things you can do. And then I talk about audio driven animation and then transitions and then compositing and green screen and roto and things you're not supposed to see. Then a bunch of 3D stuff and then animation in particular and blah, 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 blah. It was a fun talk. So at this conference, it made me, yeah, there's my little slide. But at this conference, it made me also realize that I really miss talking about visual effects, and I'd like to do more with it. And so I was planning on doing some kind of visual effects class at some point, but I haven't arranged it yet. Still figuring out kind of how I want to do it, because visual effects is something I could do as on like an online workshop, but I'd rather do some kind of practical in-person thing. So I'm actually trying to work with B&H to like do a hands-on thing in the city, but we'll see. Figure it out. Praveen, for your walk cycle issue, I'm not sure I fully understand exactly what the problem is. Can you type a message up of kind of what it is you're trying to accomplish? Just like you don't need to tell me how you're doing what you're doing because whatever you're doing is apparently causing you issues, but let me know like what your end goal is and then I'll tell you how I would approach it in case it helps. Um, I just got on my break. Hello. Got my break. The new Blender got more good updates. Blender always has good updates. We love the Blender updates. There's a video I've been meaning to watch. It's from they just had BlenderCon in Amsterdam, and they have a bunch of new animation stuff that they were talking about. I have yet to watch the video, but it's on my list, my ever-growing list of stuff to see. But I want to see what's new. I haven't caught up with it yet. Paul Allen was there last year too. That's cool. Do you do university guest lectures? My university has online Thursday guest lecture. We have quite a few lectures from industry people. I'm sure many students would love to hear more about your journey in particular. In, in particular. I have never seen in particular written as in particular. That's funny. I'm assuming that was on purpose, but yeah, I do that kind of stuff. I do like that kind of stuff. I love speaking at schools. So yeah, if your university wants to have me as a speaker, tell them to reach out for sure. Um, LinkedIn, email, happy to. At the Lightbox booth, have a Maya scene open and let people come up and make one key pose. Gartic fun in real life, basically. That's funny. That's a fun idea. I was trying to decide. I'm trying to. I'm. That was one thing I was considering. I'm like, do I allow people to like mess with the computer myself, like do stuff on the computer? And I'm leaning towards no because I've been to enough conferences. Let's just say I've been to enough conferences of professional people where you'd think it's. I've been to enough conferences with professionals, and I've like, oh, let me run to the restroom and like I don't know, let me wash my hands. Like I just had lunch, let me go wash my hands or something. I always carry hand sanitizer and stuff. But like I've been in enough restrooms at these conferences and I've seen enough dudes leave without hitting the sinks, which is a whole thing on its own. Don't get me started. But at these events we're supposed to be shaking hands. Nasty. You nasty. I don't know if I want the conference to be able to touch my laptop. So, there will if I did anything like that, there would be a nice big ol' like hand sanitize, then touch my stuff. Yuck. You sick nasties. Anyway, Chesv, how you doing? I swear it's been a minute. It has been a minute. Will you do a course on rigging and Unreal, mechanics and organic? I wasn't really planning on doing like a course in rigging, but I do. You know what's funny? I hate rigging typically. I don't rig things. I refuse. Like if I must for a project, then I guess I can, but I really dislike rigging and I avoid it like the plague. But I do my own rigging in Unreal these days, and I'm working on a video. I think I mentioned this earlier, but I'm working on a video for Corridor Digital right now, and I'm rigging and animating everything I'm doing in Unreal. I could have used any software, but I'm using Unreal because it's just kind of the best fit for what I'm doing. And I'll probably do a video on it. I don't know if I'll do like a course on it. It's what I know about rigging in Unreal is in my Unreal courses for sure. But and I'll probably show a little bit of that at Lightbox because I have a talk about Unreal of one of my two talks. But I probably won't do like a whole paid course on rigging. I'll probably just make free content on rigging because I don't feel super confident about like my rigging abilities in Unreal. So that's free content. That's stuff that like I don't feel good charging for that. So you get that for free. It'll just be stuff I make. Hey, know the robot. How you doing, man? Hey, you're going to Lightbox too. Hey, you're speaking on a panel actually. Didn't realize you're speaking at Lightbox. I'm on my first panel at Lightbox this year. Got any tips? Hey, yeah, actually. Um, we'll both be there. We'll actually get to meet in person. Uh, any tips? I mean, you're gonna do great. I mean, you are. Let's see. Any tips? I'm trying to think of like something actually like useful and not some like lame piece of advice. I guess tips for speaking on a panel. I mean, hopefully, this really. I feel like the experience of speaking on a panel really comes down to the moderator. If the moderator is really on top of it, they'll like direct questions and get answers from you. They'll kind of just like, hey, and what do you think? Like your turn, go ahead, and then you'll go right. Uh, I guess I would just say like blanking. I want to give you something useful. Um, I don't know. I feel like you're gonna do awesome. I'm excited to see your panel if I can make it. Which I need to find out what time your panel is actually. When is your panel? Do you know? Actually, you must know by now. Yeah, when is yours? I'm gonna pull it up. But let's see. Any tips for panel? I don't know. I guess like just know. I guess my only tip for like a panel environment is to know that the audience is really broad. Like anything that you think might be kind of helpful, it's like at least half the room, especially at Lightbox, will not have heard what you're going to say before. It'll be fresh information they'll never have heard before. So like, don't assume like, oh, and you guys probably know this. There's for sure people in there who don't, and like, oh, I wish I knew what he was talking about. Um, but at the same time, there's going to be another group in there that can handle the advanced stuff or can handle like the specifics. And so, you know, however you want to try to condense. I'm very long-winded. I don't know how you are in like a live setting, but like I struggle to take all the stuff I want to say and put it into one nice little sound bite. But I always try to sort of make sure that I'm starting at the beginning enough that I'm not losing people. But then, don't be afraid to like get into the weeds because people want the weeds. People, it's like people need both. And so, go as deep as you want to go, but also don't feel like anything you share is like too basic, I guess. Oh, no moderator. Oh, okay. Well, no moderator. Interesting. Then honestly, here's my tip. If you're on a panel with no moderator, my tip, and this is like I feel like this is a silly thing to say, and I feel like you would just do this naturally, but like be very expressive and like emote because there's going to be time like you never know on a panel. Sometimes there's somebody on the panel with you. I've seen this as a panel viewer, and I've seen this as being on stage, and I've been a moderator a couple of times. Often, not every time, but often there's one person on the panel who just kind of monopolizes the conversation. Or maybe there's like two people who get along really well and they just click and they start talking a lot, and then like another person or two are just kind of like, yeah, like they can't really like break in. Hopefully that's not the case. That's usually why moderators are important, but hopefully everybody is self-aware enough to not have that happen. What I would say is you might not always get the chance to chime in on something that you want to talk about. And so there's a lot, but everyone's watching all I think it's four of you, right? There's four of you on the panel. I feel like I saw on your story. But someone saying something you agree with, like the emoting on stage does a lot to like support what people are saying without you having to be like, yes, I agree. Yes, totally. You know what I mean? But also if you have something to say and if it seems like it's starting to become a little bit like monopolized by like a couple people, cut in. Like you don't have to talk over people, but you should 100% like if you just kind of bring the microphone up and you wait for your turn, it's going to be hard if people start to get into a flow. So you definitely might want to be like, actually, I want to add to that. Like you like jump in if you need to. Um, and my advice, which this is where I said like you'll probably do this naturally, but like my advice is if like be really aware of that, try to think about like what everybody watching is thinking of the questions and the answers and the stuff. And if you feel like, oh, the question was this, and they kind of interpreted it weird and they're like answering a different question almost, and especially if it's an audience question. I see this all the time. Like an audience member will ask a question and the speaker people won't get what they're asking and they'll kind of answer something else. And there's nothing more disappointing than like getting your chance to ask a question and they answer the wrong question. And then you go sit down and you're like, that wasn't my question. Dang it. And then you're like, oh, sorry. Can you try again? And so if you notice that kind of thing, try to be like I also want to add, just in case you meant the question a different way, the way I interpret it was this, blah, 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 blah. Or most importantly, this is probably my number one thing. If you notice that there's someone on the panel who hasn't gotten a chance to talk much, people are either talking over them or they just haven't really gotten the chance to like weigh in on stuff. Maybe they're nervous, whatever. Moderate for that person and try to be the one to say like, oh, I wanted to add da 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 da. But I was curious, like, I was wondering, like, if you had anything to share. I mean, you might not want to put someone on the spot for a particular question, but if you see them like trying to raise the microphone and they don't know how to break in and they keep not getting the chance and they keep looking like they're going to talk and then they don't get to, You can be like, also, I noticed you had your microphone up earlier. It looked like there was something you were going to say on like a previous topic. I just want to make sure, like, did you have something you wanted to like share? Because I was really interested to know what you were going to say to that. Not only is that just like a nice thing to do, but also so much of the audience will really respect that action because we all want people to be able to be heard, right? So anyway, that's like a whole little soapbox here, but panels are weird. That's why you really need to have good moderators on panels. Or if you don't have good moderators, you just have to have people who are nice to each other, know how to bounce off each other and have a good conversation. The worst thing is when you have a moderator and the moderator feels like they should be a panelist and they want to give their 2 cents on every answer too. There's nothing more frustrating because the people in the audience are there to hear from the speakers and the moderator is supporting cast. They're not there to, it's not a bad thing to be like, oh, and I wanted to chime in on that very briefly. That's fine, like every now and then. But like a moderator typically shouldn't be like also answering every question. They're there to keep it moving, make sure everyone's getting a turn and get to, we're hearing from everybody. Anyway, I've been to a lot of conferences and I've seen a lot of panels, and so those are my thoughts. I don't even know if you're still here, but hopefully some of that was helpful. Um, I want to see when your panel is. Yeah, it's gonna be super exciting. Oh, while you're here, I guess before you go, in case you have things to do today, I'll reiterate for everybody who maybe hasn't heard yet the things that we're doing at Lightbox. Um, this year at Lightbox, three things. I'm speaking twice. I've got two talks. I've got Unreal Engine 5 for 3D artists on Sunday, and I've got The Art of Going Solo, creating opportunities as artists. It's basically about going independent and working outside the studio system. So I have two talks. That one's on Saturday. So Saturday and Sunday. I have a booth. I have an exhibitor booth. I'm not an artist. I'm not in the artist alley because I'm not selling anything. But I have an exhibitor booth because I have like a sponsor booth, small sponsor, not a big sponsor booth, and it'll be a hub for all things animation, animation tech support, animation reviews. I'm also looking. I haven't posted this anywhere yet, but if there are any industry animator people here that are interested in getting involved in some of the stuff I'm doing at the booth or curious about some of the deeper things, reach out. DM me on Instagram, on LinkedIn, send me an email because I have some stuff planned and I want to bring in some other animators to help with it or even like give reviews and that kind of thing. So if you're interested in some community fun, then let me know. And then there's a third thing that I'm not ready to announce yet. I need like another week to finalize it, but it's the most exciting thing of the three. And so stay tuned. I've got something big planned for Lightbox. And it's not like I have announcements and I have things I'm launching and I have like things that I'm going to be like sharing at Lightbox for sure. I also will have some creative job opportunity type stuff that I'm going to be involved with at Lightbox. But I have one thing in particular that it's a lot and it's a fun time. And so if you're there at Lightbox, or if you're in Pasadena at all and you follow my stuff, keep an eye out because it's going to be cool. As long as I can for sure make it happen, and I should know in the next week. What would your email be? Oh, let me type my email. hello@sirwade.com. That's my email. Thanks, man. That's very helpful. Can't wait to finally meet in person. Same. We're on Friday at 4:45 from post to paycheck. Post to paychecks. Sweet. Friday at 4:45. Friday at 4:45. I think I can make that. Good. Yay. I always hope that it's not like at the same time as like mine or something or whatever. So I'll try to keep that window clear because I really want to go to that. I want to go to your panel. Sweet. I'm planning to go then. And good luck. It's gonna be awesome. I'm really excited. Uh, Trevor just found out about Lightbox Expo. Yeah, just found out about Lightbox Expo because of another robot actually, and stoked to check it out this year. That's awesome. Hopefully, I'll see you there. Yeah, no, Lightbox is great. It's always funny too. A couple years ago, I forget what year this was. Probably whatever year this was. I went to Lightbox And it was so funny. I ran into two different Jameses that I know, two different people named James that are like, it was a perfect example of the animation industry situation we have where we have like the official animation industry with studios and, you know, known known entities, Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks, that kind of thing, right? Like that. And then we have like the industry adjacent bubble, which is an industry of its own. It is still an animation industry, but it's not like the animation industry. It's sort of like the off animation industry, the online animation industry. It's like a different subset of the world of animation. And so the two people, I like within like seconds of each other, I bumped into James. I forget his last name, but James, who is Odd Ones Out, the biggest YouTube animation creator on the platform. He does like kind of 2D animatic type animation videos, or like storytelling vibes. But I ran into, because I had met him at I think VidCon years before or something. So anyway, I ran into James from Odd Ones Out, and we were chatting. And then James Baxter walks up, who I know from my time at DreamWorks, because I worked with James Baxter at DreamWorks, and so we know each other. And I've met he and his wife. My wife and I have met he and his wife and him. We all know each other, and I've met his. I think I met his daughter at Lightbox too. Actually, his whole family was there, but he's so nice. But it was really funny because I ran into this James and we're talking about like YouTube animation, and then James Baxter comes up and I say hi to him and we're chatting, and it's funny because they're both named James, and so I go, oh, by the way, like I should introduce the two of you because we're all standing here. James is a James. James, meet James, and it was just like a goofy little moment, and it was funny because James Baxter was just like, oh, hi, nice to meet another James or something like. I like your name, whatever funny thing he said. And then Odd One Out James is like, very nice to meet you, sir. Like, because he knows who James Baxter is. He's like, and then, James goes off to whatever he's going to go do. And then he turns to me, he's like, you know James Baxter? I'm like, yeah. Well, I mean, because I worked with him. So, like, I have a reason to be like, yeah, casually. But, like, it's not like we hang out or anything. But um, I'm open to it. James, if you're watching, let's grab food. But anyway, it was very funny. It was just a funny moment, but it was this interesting thing where I was just like, like these are the two like sides of the animation industry. The part that everyone knows about, like the main industry of the studios and everything else, and then the part that's like you can create your own industry. It was like an interesting little thing, and both of those things exist at Lightbox, which is very cool. That's why I like Lightbox so much. Which is a big reason why, yeah, like that's why I'm giving the presentation that I'm giving on the art of going solo. Because going independent outside of a studio talk is what we need for the future of these days. That is very much why I'm giving that talk, because I have been full time outside the studios for 7 or 8 years at this point, and I still work with studios. I still jump in for projects here and there, and I'm still involved. I'm still I'm like like if there's like a soap bubble, I'm like the little bubble on like the outside of the soap bubble that's like I'm still connected to it, but I'm also kind of outside of it. And so, I don't know. Pros and cons, but I feel like I've learned a lot of stuff and I'd like to pass on some of the helpful info. So, also I never get to talk about YouTube. Like I talk about animation constantly. Animation is like the main thing that I'm sharing on here. But animation is no longer the main thing that I do because I spend so much of my time doing like YouTube and business and like negotiating contracts, and I'm doing a lot of supervising and outside consulting and projects and technical stuff. And I do a lot of things. And you know, videos about animation take more time than the actual animation that I'm doing in the videos at this point, which is crazy. So, it's like the main thing I do, and I don't get to talk about it very often because my channel is not a channel about making videos. So I'm excited to share some of that insight with people who need it because I've learned a lot. And I remember going to conferences trying to learn about YouTube and how to go independent, how to make money. Like, how do you work with companies? How do you Like, what's the difference between freelance, user generated content, or UGC, sponsored content, affiliate stuff? Like, there's all these different things people talk about. And usually people talk about that stuff in a very, like, money focused way of, like, oh, how you can double your income, how you can triple your income, how you can. It's like so sleazy the way that it's usually talked about. And there's whole YouTube conferences or like creator conferences that I've been to that I think at one point started out pretty cool of like, hey, like how to get more people to click on your stuff and how to make your thumbnails better and how to do better video stuff for retention. You know, it's like the business of YouTube. But now I went to one of those conferences, which I won't name, and I went a couple of years ago as a plus one for someone who was speaking there, and gosh, it was just gross. The whole thing, it was every single talk was about the money, and not in like a helpful like let's talk about the finances and like let's talk about like the whatever. It was like, you know, it was the very like Mr. Beast style of YouTube, like how to gamify the system, how to bleh. I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all because I am a very firm believer that every creator hopefully should have a reason for making content in the same way that like every artist should have a reason for making art that is not motivated solely by getting rich and being famous. If it's a byproduct of your work, great, good for you. You know, like if you can make a bunch of money and support yourself, and like if you can get that bag, you know, like there's nothing wrong with being paid for what you do. But if your sole motivation to do what you do is to become rich and famous, then like I don't know. I feel like there's someone else who's actually trying to help people or do something positive that probably we should lift up more. um, Even if someone's just like really good at someone and they're just like doing it to do it because they enjoy it, they don't even need to like help it. Like if they just do it to enjoy it, like that's helpful in its own way. And so, you know, for the joy of creating, whatever. It's my own personal opinion, but it's one of the things that like I have never been on YouTube to try and get rich doing YouTube. But as much money as I'm able to earn by doing it, yes, please, because I want to keep doing it and I want to be able to do other cool stuff. And so, again, that's my 2 cents on it. So, anyways, I'm gonna try and bring that to Lightbox, that energy into my talk of like, hey, here's how to make this a sustainable career and a thing that you can do, but also you need a good, in my opinion, you need a good reason to do it. Otherwise, like, it's hollow, and people can see it. People can tell. Like, you guys wouldn't watch my videos if you thought I was just here to sell you stuff. Like, hopefully it's clear that I'm trying to actively help with the videos that I make. Anyways. Bye. Have fun. Amazing to see JP go from animator to co-director. He's such a pleasure to work with. JP is amazing. He's so cool. And I was so excited to see him get to co-direct Bad Guys 2. Or Bad Guys 2, to see him on those projects. He's fantastic. I need to text him. Everyone, quick. Hydrate. Don't forget, drink water. All right. How long have I been live? Hour and a half? Almost? Cool. Um, I have another thing to announce that now's as good a time as any. I'm going to save the details of this for the details of this. I'm going to be saving for Lightbox because you know, I try not to announce stuff that's like not finished yet for a couple of reasons. On one hand, I don't want to be one of those people who's always talking a big game, but then is not like backing it up with the actual execution. So I'm trying not to be that person. And so I like to wait until things are like done. But then I have a bad habit of waiting until things are done and perfect before I even mention them, and so no one ever knows what I'm doing. And so when I need people to like, hey everyone, this thing exists, check it out. Everyone's like, what? Why have I never heard about this before? I'm like, oh, maybe I should have talked about it more. I'm actually very bad at that. But um, that's one thing that I don't do very well. The other thing is, I've had a lot of people steal my ideas. And not in like this, like, I'm not going to say anything I ever want to do because people are just going to take it. It's mine. But I've come to realize that the particular style of the way that I think about stuff and the way that I put ideas together for animation and like our industry is weird, I guess, because there's a lot of stuff that I do and how I come up with stuff that I don't know. I do a lot of consulting. Therefore, my ideas must be useful to somebody. The amount of times I've shared like, oh, I want to do this thing with a company, thinking that like we're all pals and we're all friends, and I just kind of mention offhand like, oh, I've got this idea, I've got this thing, and like to me it's not that big of a deal. And they're like, whoa, what a great idea. And then they go and do it. And I'm like, the heck? That's happened too many times. So now I'm like, I'm working on stuff. I'm not going to tell anyone until it's like at least partially finished. Because I'm getting real sick of people like taking my ideas and like doing them differently and faster, and it's annoying. Anyway, where I'm going with this was I'm not going to share specifics yet because I'm not ready to. But what I will say, as I put on the thumbnail, this is my first time ever talking about it publicly. Uh, I am. I have been for years working towards the goal of having my own collection of character rigs, animatable character rigs. For years, I've wanted this. There's a whole story to what happened where it was like it was almost going to happen and it started to happen and there was money involved and it was all this stuff and then it sort of fell apart and I didn't get delivered and it was a whole thing. And I'm still pretty salty about it. But that's fine. This is different. I'm now officially working towards the goal that I've had for a long time to have a collection of awesome feature quality animation rigs for people to use. And the thing to announce, that's one of the things at Lightbox, one of several things at Lightbox that I'm going to be sort of looking for talent. I'm going to be looking for people to hire and work with is character artists. Because yeah, I mean, yeah, I gotta get stuff made. But without getting too detailed, what I'll say is this. I pitched this idea, my particular idea, exactly the kind of what my plan is and whatever. I pitched it to Epic Games in the Mega Grant application, and I got accepted. It's not a crazy giant, huge Mega Grant, but it's not small either. And so I'm very excited. I haven't actually received the funding yet, but I think it's on its way. I got accepted and selected for a Mega Grant from Epic Games. So let me tell you what that means. For all of you who animate in Maya, you might be like, oh no, Epic Games, that means it's going to be like Unreal only, right? Nope. Won't be Unreal only. But it will exist in Unreal. But it won't be Unreal only. And depending on the artists I work with and the price of paying people and that kind of stuff, I have a collection of characters that I'm working on. I don't know exactly how far that funding from Epic is going to stretch in getting all of the characters, but I'm putting a lot of my own money in. I mean, that's why this is taking so long. This is why this is taking years to do this, because it's like this stuff's expensive. To get characters designed, modeled, textured, rigged, multiple softwares involved, it is not cheap to pay people for this kind of work. to give you an example, the rigging for a character at like a Pixar level in a studio environment, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, those who know, but I think on average, like if you have like if you had like an Incredibles character, the rigging alone for one character can easily cost $70,000 or $80,000 worth of budget paid to an artist or two over the time. And so if you were to like freelance that work out, that's essentially what you'd be paying. Like if you're doing that freelance wise, you'd have to pay almost $100,000 for the rigging of one character at that level. And I'm not working with budgets anywhere near that. Like that's not something I have in my cards. And so, that's why it's taken years to even kind of start this process properly. Without getting into it, because I'm not going to get into it, not publicly anyway. I had another company, a sponsor of the channel, basically invest $10,000 and say, hey, here's some money, because I pitched them some stuff, and they were like, here's some money, let's get some rigs made, and let's get at least, let's get some rigs made. And that money got paid to a studio, and the deliverables were supposed to be that I get a certain amount of rigs, and there were some stuff we agreed on and some stuff that I did, deliverables on my end to, look at me, I'm in my like defensive pose. I'm in my like body language defensiveness opening up. It didn't happen, didn't work out. The stuff I was given didn't, it didn't, I didn't get what I was supposed to get. And so anyway, that was a long time ago. It was several years ago at this point. So I've been trying to restart now for years. I've been trying to restart, do it differently, do it better, do things the right way. And yes, my goal is to have some character rigs that are cross-platform is the wrong word because you can't actually have, well, that's not exactly true. You mostly can't have like one rig that works across different tools. The tools don't talk to each other like that. Technically, you can with something like Ozone, which is really awesome, and that's something we're talking about. But anyway, I'm still evaluating rigging technologies because I'm not entirely sure how I want everything rigged, because I want it to be a consistent experience across the softwares. But at the same time, Unreal can do stuff that Maya will never be able to touch, that Blender is not going to be able to do. Unreal can do some crazy stuff. Blender can do some amazing things. And you can do all kinds of cool stuff with just like Blender as a software, aside from even just the rigs themselves. And then Maya is very tried and true and is very stable for certain things. And so there's benefits to letting each tool shine as what it is. So I'm no longer trying to make them like, it's the same rig in 3 different places, because that's not actually what I want. Because that will basically say, okay, what can they all do? This. But each one can actually, it's like a big Venn diagram. Unreal can do all of this. Maya can do these things. Blender can do these things. They overlap to a certain extent, but I don't want to be limited to the overlap. And so there will be versions per software, and they will be a little bit different. But anyway, the way I'm looking to do it is I'm essentially personally self-funding the design of the characters, the modeling and the texturing work, and I'm trying to put the mega grant, the Epic money, towards the rigging of the characters. And I'm hoping, I'm prioritizing that funding towards the technology, the R&D, and the rigging in Unreal, because that's sort of the biggest question mark, because that's why they're investing in the project, is because there aren't very many good, this kind of quality of rigs yet. It's like a thing that we're all actively trying to solve that problem. Like, how do you rig a feature quality character? There's a couple studios who have tackled it with like different styles and different solutions, and we haven't actually found, no one's found the way forward yet. And so I'm going to take a stab at it, and I'm going to prioritize that funding for that part of the project, because Epic's paying for that part of the project, and so, or they're funding the whole thing, but I'm basically saying I don't want to pay for Unreal Engine rigging R&D. If Epic is going to help me, I want them to pay for that part. And if there's leftover, then great, then we can do more with it, multiple characters and things like that. But I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't know how far that funding is going to go because it's going to be an expensive project. And like I said, the mega grant is, it's not small, it's significant, but it's not like I'm like, oh, I can just do this now. I would be very smart about how I invest the funds. So that's exciting. That's cool. So I'm officially a mega grant recipient, or I will be. I have the badge. I just haven't posted it anywhere yet. But I'll be looking to hire some people at Lightbox and to kind of put out some more information at Lightbox about kind of what the actual plan is and what I need. And so, yeah. Anyway, so I'll be looking for different types of artists at Lightbox, which is very cool. Very excited. So that's cool. Um, yeah, and this is the first time I've announced it anywhere. I think I've only told like three people. Only like three people in my life know. My wife knows, and yeah, maybe there's like three or four other people total who know. So now there's 30-ish people who also know. I haven't really talked about it yet because what I have planned. Oh man, I I wish I could show you guys some of the design stuff that I've had done already, but I'm not ready to show it yet. It's too cool. It's too cool because that's the rigs themselves tie into a whole bunch of other plans that I have that I've been working on for years. This is why I don't post very many videos lately. I've been so busy with other stuff that I just haven't talked about. So like I've been busy. I'm doing work for you guys. I'm doing stuff. Hopefully good stuff for the community, but it's all like quiet at the moment. It's eventually I'll unleash things. You'll be like, "Whoa, that's where he's been." Although I am trying to post more videos. I'm feeling irrelevant these days. That Rig and Primo over at DreamWorks was like alien science. I know. I miss the Rig. That's what's so cool about Unreal Engine is Frederick Nielsen, who helped build Primo at DreamWorks, is now product manager for animation at Epic. He's in charge of the development of animation for Unreal Engine. So that Unreal Engine is becoming more and more like Primo and Presto and the industry animation tools that are so cool. And Epic Games has the money to fund the development of these tools, and they're putting all the best stuff in there. It's so cool. So, how are advanced skeleton rigs? I don't know a ton. I mean, like I've used a few of them here and there, but I use M Gear more than advanced skeleton. I like M Gear a lot, but no, any kind of auto rigger, because that's what advanced skeleton helps you do. It helps you auto rig, or you can do additional custom stuff, but no, typically any kind of auto rigging system, you can start there, but you've got to go beyond. And so I'm not the biggest fan of what I've seen from Advanced Skeleton, but I've only seen a limited amount. These will all be very custom jobs, custom rigging work. What's the end goal for the rig? Cinema quality, game quality, etc. They will be focused on cinema quality. My goal is to make them like feature animation quality rigs, cinema quality, but the ones in Unreal will also be like game capable. They need to be cinema quality, but performant enough to be used in a game sense. And so I don't want to have. I will likely have two, like for example, if there was Maya variants, there's going to be a film version and a game version. There's going to be a version that's like fully made for acting shots, and then a version that's like set that to Unreal. So both will exist, but my focus is cinema quality. That's the one that's harder to do. So that's my focus, to make that really good, because it's easier to make it like to optimize it for games. It's harder to like take something that's game specific and then like make it better for you know what I mean. I mean, if the rig is made in advanced skeleton, are those good enough for animation for movies like Animations? Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure the answer is yes. Totally. It just depends on like how much time has been put into it. Nothing wrong with the system. And you can always start advanced skeleton and like do more work with it. So yeah, totally. Send workshop. Hi. Hi, sir. I'm working on a F1 clip and realize how insane it is to get CA 100 figures, cars rigged and ready for animation. Whoa. 100 figures and cars. That sounds like a lot. Yikes. Oops, sorry, 1 second. Ooh. Guess what? We just got more stuff for the giveaways at Lightbox. We've got some software licenses, which I won't tell you what they are yet, but we've got some software licenses to give away at Lightbox. 3 of them. That's exciting. That's very exciting. Give me 1 second, just make sure there's nothing on fire. Oh, yep, I gotta get back to that. I wonder how long I should live stream. I gotta get to some other projects. Busy week. Let's see. Auto rigging isn't that good because you have to fix them every time, but it's good to get started, and it's good to learn yourself. Yes, agree, 100%. I completely agree with that. Sometimes I wish just to start animating, but almost 60% of my time goes to preparing all the assets. That is a rough part of the process. Yeah, no, I understand that. That's rough. Sometimes you just want to start working, but the prep stuff is. I'm gonna keep saying it though. That's what's so nice about Unreal Engine. Is I'll give you an example. I can't tell you what it is because this is the thing for the corridor digital video. But I'm doing some animation for the corridor video. I have an asset. It's a living being. Thing's alive. Thing's supposed to be alive. And I rigged it and I'm animating it in Unreal. But I rigged it just enough to get started at first. And then I decided later, I'm like, oh, I don't like the way I rigged it. Actually, I did this part of the entity. I rigged it badly. I rigged it in a way that's like, oh, I don't like the way it works. I don't like the system that I used. And so I went back into the rig and I changed it. And it just updated my animation. Because the thing is with Unreal is like the asset, the skeletal mesh, the mesh with the bones in it, and the rig are not like locked together the way they are with Maya and Blender and everything else. The model lives here and the rig is here, and you attach the rig onto the thing and it rigs it up. And if you're like, oh no, the rig is, I've already started animating, but I don't like the way this part of the body is working, you can go back into the rig and update the rig, and it'll sort of like reinitialize, and it just works. Or what I did is at some point I was like, oh, I wish I had a version of the rig that had dynamics turned on. As an example, if I had a cape and I had all these controls to control the cloth of the cape, but I didn't feel like animating them, or I wanted to do a first pass where I'm not actually moving all the different cloth controls down the cape, I could just set it up with dynamics, little checkbox for dynamics on, depending on how you do it. So then I can animate the character, and the cape is going to just swish around and have physics dynamics that I have sliders and stuff to control how aggressive that is. And so I can do all that stuff, and I can bake that down and say, great, now I've got all the animation on the cape. And then I go, all right, now I want a version of the rig that doesn't have that or has a totally different system on the cape. I can just duplicate the rig, make a new version of it, and then put that other version on my animation, and it'll swap to that other version. And then I make changes. It's so cool. It's so weird. It's so unlike other systems. And so that's something I really like about working in Unreal, is that you don't have to get it perfect at the beginning. You don't have to like, I've got to do all my prep and then I can start working. Like you can kind of have that sort of simultaneous, we call it a water flow pipeline or waterfall pipeline, where instead of it being like an assembly line, you must complete each job and move on to the next task. It's more of a flat hierarchy where the water flows and you can always kind of make changes. And I forget why we call it waterfall pipeline, but anyway, it's very cool. I don't know if it would help with the car stuff that you're doing. Actually, it would. Oh, it would. Oh, wait a minute. It totally would. Because if you have 100 different vehicles, especially if they're built the same or similarly, or have like the same bone names or naming conventions or things, then it gets really easy. But You can basically make one rig for a car using all the system stuff they built. There's all these like cool modules that you can like build it. You could build one rig for the car, and you can make it's procedural. So you could apply it to the 100 different other cars. You'd have the same rig on all of the cars. Unless you have like, oh, one of the assets is really different and like it's like totally weird. Like, okay, then you build that one, give it its own custom thing. But in general, you can use this rig procedurally across all the different vehicles, which means you could also potentially use the same animation library to apply the similar animations or make some changes like that across all the different vehicles. And then if you're like, oh no, I did them all wrong, I had a problem and I didn't realize that like the steering wheel was broken or the wheels don't do this thing, just add that feature to the rig and it updates for all of them. So cool. The Lightbox FOMO's too real right now. I'm sorry. I wish you were going. Where in the world is it? Am I confused? Was it Ohio? You in Ohio? I like have to scroll so far back up to double check that. Yeah. I won't lie to you. Yeah, if I can get everything that I want to happen this year, then I'm hoping it'll be the best year for animators yet. I guess all I'll say is this. I won't say the details yet, but that third thing I keep being like, I have a third thing at Lightbox. It's an event. I'm trying to throw an event, which I will reserve information on for later. But it's like a separate event from Lightbox. It's related, but it's not. It won't be at Lightbox. It's different. Not to kick you when you're down, but um, I would. I wish that I were more important. I wish I were like a bigger creator to be able to like I don't know I'm putting together some kind of thing with Lightbox and like I've got 10 tickets to give away. We've got flights and hotels for everybody. Like I wish we could do something like that. I'm not that important. I don't have that kind of leverage. And Lightbox does just fine without me getting involved. So I don't think they need that, but that'd be cool. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of stuff that like if I somehow became extremely wealthy from YouTube, which is extremely unlikely, just doing what I'm doing. But if I could ever like be very, very financially well off from the things I were doing, that's the kind of stuff I would do. It'd be like, oh, people in my animation community can't make it to Lightbox this year. Well, we're renting a bus and we're gonna drive. I'm in New York right now, so like we're gonna drive from New York. We're gonna pick everybody up along the way. We're going to Lightbox, and then we'll fly everybody back because no one wants to do 2 drives across the country. I mean, I we could just make it like fly everyone in, but like I don't know. It sounds like a fun idea of like the animation bus, and it's like a little thing. It's like we'll stop along the way at different interesting animation places, studios, or you know, animation party bus. There you go. Pick everybody up, laptops in the bus, make some kind of a short film project, something on the bus, stop at virtual production stage, stop at animation studio, stop at some stop motion place, da 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 da. Get to Lightbox, have a time, everyone flies home. Sounds fun, right? I don't know. That's what I would do if I had just like unlimited money. Do the kind of stuff like that. It'd be fun. But alas, I don't have unlimited money. I can't afford that. I just read I'm a fan of your channel. I'm a fan of you. Thank you for being here. New York, I thought you lived in Houston. I have never lived in Houston. I am from the LA area of California. I lived there for most of my life. I lived in Austin for like a year and a half during COVID to save money. And then I went back to LA for a couple years. And then I moved to New York a year and a half ago. But you're probably thinking of Austin. I was there for about a year and a half. But I'm from California, but I'm currently living in New York. think if I weren't effective with my setup, it wouldn't work at all. But 100 minifigs means, for example, the display layers are pretty much useless. Can't find anything in that little box. Yeah, that makes sense. No, I mean, if you've got 100 assets to deal with and you're like able to actually do it, that means you've got a pretty good workflow for sure. But I'm just thinking of like that's how they do. I mean, that's how Epic's able to do like Fortnite, as an example. Is they've got all these characters because they're able to sort of share the rigs among the characters, and it's a cool system, but doesn't necessarily work for everything. Winbush is here. What up? What up? How you doing? Winbush, do you go to Lightbox ever? Are you going to Lightbox this year? I don't know if you've been before. It's like animation industry stuff, but I feel like you'd enjoy it. It's like less. It's less like technical and conferencey than a lot of the conferences that we usually go to, but it's cool. In case you're checking it out. I'm not, but I'll be at Adobe Max. Oh, cool. I'm thinking of extending my Lightbox trip in LA. I'm thinking of extending a day so I can go to Adobe Max for a day or so. I have a thing that I want to tell you, but I actually don't want to say it on stream. Sorry, everybody. I can't out everything that I hear. Well, I'm not gonna text you. I'll text you later to tell you a crazy thing I just found out. Um, anyway, I know of Lightbox, but I haven't been. It's really cool. It's very like chill, artisty. If you ever like looking to buy art for your walls or something, um, Lightbox is like the best place to go because there's just like hundreds of artists selling their art, and it's super cool. I have a lot of my stuff around my office from Lightbox actually. Where's my? I have a little Zelda music box over there from Lightbox last time I went. Anyway, oh sorry, I missed a couple comments here too. Do you have a job? Yeah, I mean, I'm self-employed, but I work. As much as it'd be fun to not have to, I'm self-employed. My job is full-time. At this point, I'm sort of a mix of three things. I'm a full-time content creator as my job. YouTube is my full-time thing, which expands beyond just like making YouTube videos, but like that's kind of the main business that I am doing. Also animation, and I do a lot of projects, freelance stuff, and I do a lot of training as well. So I do a lot of studio training where I do Maya training, animation training, Unreal Engine training. I'm currently teaching virtual production. I'm doing a virtual production. I don't know what to call it. I don't know. It's not like a workshop exactly in the way that I usually do workshops, but I'm doing. I'm the virtual art department supervisor or the VAD supervisor for a virtual production project and like sort of technology evaluation in Singapore right now. That's like a thing I do at nights as well. That's a gig that I'm responsible for. So I was in Singapore a couple weeks ago. I'm basically spinning up a virtual art department, and I'm training a bunch of artists who had never used Unreal Engine. I'm teaching them how to use it fully for virtual production, world building, all that kind of stuff, and yeah, and I'm supervising a team of like 77 people, producers, and all this stuff. And I'm basically doing like remote teaching most nights. I just finished yesterday, basically like 9 p.m. to midnight every day because it's like 9 a.m. to noon in Singapore. And so, anyway, I've been doing that for several weeks, for like 5 or 6 weeks, and then I'm doing that again. I go for another like 7 weeks or something, and it ends in November with I'll be in Singapore for a bit to actually direct and produce these virtual production shorts on LED wall and green screen. And anyway, so my job consists of this like weird blend of like animation and YouTube content, things like that, speaking at conferences, that kind of stuff, presenting demos, teaching, and then training, like industry training and that kind of stuff. Which actually, let me double check really quick. Let me look for this. 2 seconds. I want to see if this has come out yet. No, not yet. It hasn't come out yet. There is a I don't know if you guys are familiar with the CG Riff animation podcast. Let me go ahead and share my screen for a second. Where the heck is the button? CG Riff. Animation podcast. Some really great guests on here. Steve is fantastic. I love Steve. I worked with him at DreamWorks. He worked on Arcane, and he just recently worked on the Predator movie, Killer Killers. Super cool. Steve's so nice. He's great. JP's on here. Ronnie Namani, who was the one who supervised me on that Grimmel shot, the villain of How to Train Your Dragon. He was the lead on that character, and he's the one who supervised me for that shot on my old demo reel that you may have seen. Sean Kelly. There's so many cool people that he interviews. Would recommend checking it out. I subscribed. Why am I not subscribed? That's weird. Oh, did I unsubscribe? I don't know. That's weird. Embarrassing. How bizarre. I just did a podcast interview with Aaron last week, and I think this is going live very soon. I just went and took a look at the final thing. It's like an 1.5-hour interview. And when it comes out, you guys should watch my interview with Aaron because number one, it's cool. It's a fun story and, it's a good conversation. But also, I reveal things that I've never talked about publicly before. There are certain things that you guys know about me that have more to the story. Why I left DreamWorks. I did a whole video, why I left DreamWorks. Every word in that video is true. You know the story, a lot of you, why I left DreamWorks. But there's a part you don't know. There's some studio politics involved in why I left the studio. And it's been long enough now, and I don't name names. If you're in the know, you might be able to figure out who I'm talking about, but I tell the actual second piece of the story in that interview, and that's not the only extra little tidbit of stuff I go into. So anyway, when that podcast drops, you should watch it because it's got some good stuff. It's fun. Let me know when you're in LA. I'll roll up. Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna be getting there. Yeah, it'll be at the end of October, so I'll be there for like a week or so before Adobe Max, and then I might be at Adobe Max for a day, but I'll hit you up. Oh, and I missed this one too. Hope animation is still available as a career when it's my time to come around on a higher dose of ADHD meds and realize how much better learning has been for me. Well, that's good. I'm glad that's helped. Yeah, that's a big thing. And I've talked to a lot of industry people about that. Like this whole idea of our animation job's going to be there when I'm ready to get hired. And it's like, we have to assume the answer is yes, right? But there's certainly a lot of evidence to suggest that the industry is in trouble right now. I mean, we can see that the industry is in trouble. And only time will tell exactly how that all goes. But, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. And get good at the stuff. And if you can, go to my talk at Lightbox on going independent and get some additional skills. Also, I saw someone say hi. Where did I missed it. Hi, sir. Love from India. Love your video. You're the best. Thank you. I'm a fan of you. Thanks for being here. You know what's funny? When I go to my YouTube analytics, I can see what countries watch your videos the most. And I think right now the US, the US is number one. I haven't looked lately, but I know the US is up there, the UK is up there, different other countries. I have a really, really international demographic on my YouTube because animation's worldwide. Everyone loves animation. And so it's funny. I could there's 3 people in Nepal and there's 2 people in all these countries. There's 4 people here. It's, whatever. It tells me based on views, but if there's only 2 views in a specific country, I'm that's probably the same. That's 1 or 2 people in that entire country who watch my stuff. But I have this big old list, which is really, really cool. It's so cool to see, actually. But India is one of my highest like viewer zones. There's a lot of you guys are in India, and I mean, and I know that there's a lot of like Indian animation companies, visual effects companies, that kind of thing. Um, I've always wanted to visit. I love traveling. I've never been to India, and I would love to go in like a work capacity to like do something cool there. I don't know what that means exactly, but like I don't know if there's like certain schools that are really well known for this kind of thing, or if there's like programs or something where like, ooh, like if I went to this place, I could like give a talk or like do a thing, and I could like meet a bunch of people and be generally helpful. I don't know. I think that'd be so fun. But I don't know a whole lot about India as a place. Like I have not been, and I have not really researched it all that much. And my geography skills are abysmal. And so um like I know certain cities and like roughly where they are, but like I don't know like how animation fits into like, oh, like where is animation the most, I don't know, where's the most animation stuff happening? I don't know. So I don't know. If anybody ever has suggestions or ideas on that front, let me know. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Can you? Can't wait. Can are you expecting? Wait. Can slash are you actually getting pure animation gigs? Projects where the most of the work is hand keyed animation and not taking on whole products, delivering, for example, a full rendered scene. I can for sure. I don't take very many of those projects on because they're so time commitment heavy, and I don't have that much time to give most of the time. Also, I need to just double check my calendar because I have a meeting later today, but I don't think that's for a couple of hours. No, I'm good. Um, but yeah, I'm doing that right now. I'm currently working on a corridor digital video, which I can't share details of, obviously, because they don't announce their videos ahead of time or anything. But I'm just doing animation for that project. So I had a call with the team, talked to them last week, talked to them earlier this week, went over some stuff. They sent me some files, and I rigged and I'm animating the stuff I'm animating. I'm using Unreal Engine to do it, and then I'm just delivering animation data back to them. So I do take it on sometimes. Usually, I only take it on for like friends or for like, let's call it like friends of the channel, right? Like Corridor Digital or um, well, I don't want to give any specifics because no one else has announced their projects, but I'll take on animation gigs when I know the people involved and if I have the time to do it. I don't get asked to do that much animation only stuff. I usually get asked to do like more than that. Like there was an animation studio which a lot of people here would know of, but I'm not going to name it. There's an animation studio that approached me to be a technical director to help them set up a pipeline and do all this other stuff, which was really really cool. But it's not something that I really had the bandwidth for. I also would have had to move to another country after a certain amount of time, which I would love to have done, but I just moved to New York a year and a half ago, and so I'm not really looking to move again for a while, if at all. And so when I get asked to work on stuff, usually I get asked to be more involved than just doing animation. And so it keeps me pretty busy. But occasionally it happens. And when I take those projects on, usually I'll try to jump on for like a limited time. I don't usually have the bandwidth to commit to something super long term. I think the only exception would be there are certain like film or game or TV projects that would be longer term commitments that I would be very happy to jump on board. There's a couple like there's the Brad Bird movie that's being made at Skydance, Ray Gun. I would be I'd be interested in working on that. It's not something I've pursued because again, I'm busy and I think they're working on it like now and I'm kind of doing stuff. Um, the new Zelda movie, which I'm very skeptical of, but also very excited for the idea of because I like the director. Um, I'd love to work on the Zelda movie. Please. You're kidding me? Gimme. It's probably going to be done at Weta Digital. Gimme. I want it. If anybody knows of when that goes into production, it's not yet. It hasn't gone into production yet, but I'm interested. But the other question is like, do I just want to do only animation? Like, I feel like I'd want to do more than just that. Like, I've gotten so used to being like more of a generalist. I like doing more than just animation at this point. Like I like animating and I enjoy animation to a certain extent, but I actually really struggle only doing animation now because there's so much other stuff that I've gotten good at that I like doing, depending on the project, just as much as animation, if not more sometimes. Like I'm actively now learning Houdini because I've always wanted to do effects. I always struggle with, do I want to be an animator or an effects artist? And I went with animation. And I talk about that in the CG Riff podcast a bit. But that's something that I struggled with at the beginning, and I picked animation, and I never looked back. But then I've always still had a love for effects, and so I'm actively learning Houdini to add that skill set. Not just as like I like to dabble in effects, and I like doing some effects here and there. I actually want to get properly, professionally good at effects in Houdini. And real time in Unreal as well, but primarily I want to do Houdini effects. So to me, that'd be like the ultimate combo. Like, I wish I were good at story and like storyboarding type stuff, but I'm not. That's just not my skill set, and it's not something I've developed. But if I could be like an animator, effects artist, that's like a weird combo because usually you'd be like a story artist and an animator, or you'd be like a animator and a rigger, or you'd be like a modeling and texturing artist, right? Like there's these combos that make sense. But animation and effects, perfect combo for YouTube. Not typically an industry combination, but I would love to find a place where I can do both of those things and contribute to a project. Because, like, oh, yes. Jordan of Corridor Digital would be proud. I'm learning from Jordan. He has a class on Double Jump Academy, which I will show you. I'm going to plug it because I'm a fan of what they're doing over there. Actually, I think I have an affiliate code for Double Jump Academy, which I don't know where that code is, so I'm not going to use it right now because I don't know where the link is, but I'll show it to you anyway. Beep. Double Jump Academy is oh look, there's Jordan there. Double Jump is a Houdini focused. I mean, they do more than just Houdini, but they're an effects school. They're a school for learning effects. And Jordan has a class unlocking the magic of Houdini. There it is. And I signed up for it, and I am not very far into it yet because I've been too busy to actually take it. But man, is it good. He is a really, really good teacher. And it's really funny. There's like, to be an animator, you have to think a certain, not like one certain way, but in you can think in a number of different ways, but there are ways to think about things that make it easier to be an animator. Similarly, to be an effects artist, you need to be able to think a certain way. That's what it is. It's not that you need to think a certain way, it's that you need to be able to think in certain ways. The distinction there. Jordan thinks the exact same way that I think. At least that's how I interpret it from when I watch the videos he teaches in these classes. The way he presents information, the way he thinks about something is exactly the way that I think about something. And so that's something that is so helpful for me. That's something that just like when you have some kind of educational content that you're trying to absorb, you're trying to learn a new skill, having someone to teach you who thinks the way you think or understands how you think at the very least and can communicate in that way, so helpful. I assume that if you're watching my YouTube videos, that I'm to some extent able to do that for you, right? That's the goal, right? That's why I'm so long-winded, and that's why I'll say things 4 different ways, because different people get it from different ways of explaining it. But that's a skill, right? To be able to make that connection of like, how do you need to think about this in order to learn it, so then I can like go into that mode and then present the information in that language so that you're like, oh, that's, I've never heard it said that way before. That makes sense. Now I get it. Anyway, um, for Houdini and for effects, the way Jordan presents information does that for me. And so that's how I'm learning Houdini. Is I've watched other tutorials and I've been in other environments where like I've learned some stuff about Houdini, but it's never really stuck. I really like this one. I really like his way of doing it. And so, anyways, yes, Jordan would be proud because I'm learning from him through double jump. And double jump has been great, by the way. Actually, let me show this again. Double jump as a school, I really, really like. Raban, who runs it, I've talked to him. We even talked at some point about kind of doing something together at some point. We haven't figured it out yet. I haven't dove into that. But where is that explosions? Where's that explosions one? The moonshot's so cool. Maybe it's this one. Kaboom. Double jump helped me out a ton with a video, actually. So you guys actually haven't seen this video. I haven't posted it yet, but you know my this shot. It's this shot. See this big explosion shot? That right there. Let me go back it up. This shot. Bam! All this stuff. I was doing a part 2 to my RTX 50 series GPU testing for 3D artists. I was doing a part 2. I actually did most of the work for the part 2. I did testing with the 5090, 5080, and 5070. And I was doing all these benchmarks and all these things. And I was doing Unreal Engine and Houdini testing and all this other stuff. And I needed a scene that was really crazy heavy. And I worked with Double Jump. They hooked it up and they provided me. And it's not as easy as a Maya file. It's not just like, oh, let me just provide you a scene file. Then you open it up and you're done. Houdini's more complicated than that. And I'm not that good at it yet. And so they really did actually a lot of work to give me this explosion scene file, but give it to me in a way that I don't know, that I could replicate properly. That stuff was like, I was able to actually kind of open it up, click a couple of things in a certain order. There was a walkthrough video that they made for me, and I was able to basically like render this out in various passes. The rings, the smoke, the explosion, the fire, the trails, like it's all separate. It's like a proper industry workflow, a really heavy scene, all this geometry, all this stuff. Right? All this stuff. Anyway, they hooked it up, they set me up, and I was able to do all this testing with this file. And the results were really interesting. So, huge shout out to Double Jump. I will talk about them much more once I'm posting that video. That video I actually worked on a long time ago. It's been months. But the problem, the reason I didn't post that video yet is, I remember exactly what it is. It's like the results were so broken. Like I didn't feel good about posting that video because I'm not confident. It's like I'm not confident about like the reporting. Like my journalism isn't sound, if that makes sense. I'm not going to misinform people. I'm not going to knowingly misinform people. And so like I think I have a faulty 5080 card is what it is. I'm not sure. I run a 5090 on this machine, but I've got the 5080 and the 5070 sitting over here for all the testing. And I think the 5080 might be faulty because the data makes no sense. In some tests, it behaves exactly as you'd expect, 5070, 5080, 5090. And in some tests, it's like 5070, 5090, 5080. It's like, it's weird. And so I reached out to NVIDIA and they've been really, really busy as well. My contacts at NVIDIA are really busy, but they're very helpful and they have been very supportive. And we're trying to figure it out. We're trying to figure out like what is the actual problem. Is my GPU faulty? It's not like I can just like, hey, let me just grab another one. Like it's not, things are expensive, um, and but we're trying to figure out like, is it a software thing? Is it like some drivers? Is it something with my hardware? Was it something with that file? Like, there's so many things it could be, and so I'm not confident putting out that video until I know what the actual cause is, so that I'm not telling people like, oh no, the 5080. Like, I don't want to, I'm not gonna do a Chicken Little. So anyway, I have a part two to the GPU testing video that I've done a lot of the work on, but I'm not confident in the results, and so I'm trying to solve that problem before I make the video. Because the other thing is, if I make like a part one to the video, I'm like, oh, like let me share what I've got so far. There's a good chance people will just kind of take what they see there, not really listen to a lot of what I have to say, or like skip ahead, get the information, and then leave and never come back for the second part. So it's like I don't want to split it. I want to actually do it right. YouTube, that's what happens. And anyway, so there's that. So Double Jump has been super, super amazing in helping me test the Houdini stuff, because I do not yet have the skills to make my own proper Houdini test file. So they provided that, and they were wonderful. Anyway, story time. I think I just struggle with the question of what is actually needed to realize your own stories, meaning how can you do most of it on your own without having 300 artists in the credits? I've become a most well-rounded generalist, but I think animation creates the most value in my clips still. Yeah, I think that's fair. That's kind of how I approach it as well. Is like there's a lot of things you can be okay at and get a lot out of. Animation is one of the ones that's like it is very difficult for people to casually do animation and it be any good. You have to kind of specialize in animation for a certain amount of time to get good enough at it to where it's a useful skill. Because like a lot of people will put animation in a project, but the animation is really weak, and so the whole project feels really weak. It's it's I think arguably one of the best skills that if you had to pick certain skills to be better at than others, and so that you like it's gonna bring the most value, I think animation is one of them. So much hinges on good animation. The better the animation, so much other stuff gets better because of it. But then I think effects and lighting are probably, and again, camera, I guess. There's a lot of things when it comes down to it that you can hide band animation with, depending on what you're doing. So, my favorite part of a pipeline is previs. Previs is great. I need to do more previs, honestly. Why don't you go hardcore with effects by using Niagara? I don't really like Niagara that much. It's a great system, and I like having real time effects in Unreal, but I don't enjoy using Niagara very much. I find it unintuitive. I have basically figured out how to use every effect system I've ever used. Houdini is different. Houdini, I have had to actually like watch tutorials and like be taught Houdini because it's so deep. But in general, After Effects and Trapcode and Maya Blender, Cinema 4D to an extent, like all the tools I've used where I'm like, okay, get me in there. Where's the effects tools? Here it is, and then I'll figure it out. Like I can kind of just have fun with the effects tools and figure it out most of the time. Niagara is like less intuitive to me, and I don't enjoy it as much because it just feels like almost like clunkier. It's like weird that it's very Unreal where it's like you have to like build the system to then use the system. It's not like the system's just there and then you just tweak parameters. It's like you have to build the system that you want and then go from there. But you don't build it in like a node-based way. You build it in like a bunch of drop downs or something like a list, like the one node. I mean, it is kind of node-based, but anyway, I don't know. I find Niagara to be a little bit weird, but it's also because I just haven't spent much time with it. So I would like to get better with it for sure. I played with it yesterday. You know what? I'll show you guys. I can show you this. I played with it yesterday. I didn't really play with it. I used it yesterday for, oh my gosh, this whole time I keep forgetting. Dang it. Every time I've talked about Lightbox today, I forget to drop the links. Stupid me. Hang on, I'm dropping these links, so they keep forgetting. If anyone's going to Lightbox, I keep forgetting to say this. If anyone's going to Lightbox, there's a link in the description, or there I just put in the chat. There's a link to like submit some ideas if there's anything you want to see at Lightbox. Now is the time while I'm doing all the final planning. And if you're interested in any animation classes in the future, I'm going to be announcing a lot of stuff at Lightbox. But if you're interested in the upcoming classes, like that's a place where you can sort of see some of the new class stuff and submit interest or pitch ideas for other classes you want. So I keep forgetting to share those links. Whatever. Dang it. Anyway, what were we talking about? I was going to show you something with Niagara. Here. Where is my Discord? Here it is. Discord for me is actually so broken in a bad way. I actually cannot use Discord on my computer right now. I don't know why, but Discord, the software, is being so unbelievably slow and buggy and weird that I've resorted to using it in a browser. I can only use it in a browser. It's so frustrating. Okay. Open image and new tab. Yeah, I should do that. Open image and new tab. Open image and new tab. Goodie. Then I should close my email just in case. There we go. And then image and new tab. Image and new tab. Actually, this I could probably just open in Unreal, actually. All right, I'll show you guys something. Boop, boop, boop. So, team. All right, I'll show you the thing. So, yesterday I was teaching my virtual production class in Singapore. It's remote. I'm doing a remote teaching thing. And one of the artists was working with this file. One of the artists is doing some space stuff. And this is sort of, I think this is something they downloaded from Fab. They downloaded this like space environment. And these are some of the before screenshots. And what I want to show you is let's critique this. This is just, I think, assets on Fab. They came like this. Let's critique. Earth, actually, while I'm critiquing, I should open the actual project I want to show you. So that is team 5 dot project. Let me go ahead and open that. I'm using Diversion, by the way. I'm using, for those who know Unreal a little bit, I'm using a tool called Diversion, which is a revision control system, kind of like Perforce, but free. And basically what I'm doing is I'm synced to everybody's projects. So there are 6 different teams of people making projects, and I need to be able to access all of the stuff and to be able to help with things. And I'm remote. Everyone's in Singapore and I'm here in New York. And so what I'm doing is I'm using Diversion to, here we go. I'm using Diversion to synchronize all the files. So I actually have access to everybody's stuff at all times. And when I go in and mess with stuff, it doesn't actually affect them until if I commit it, I can basically like send them new versions. I can download their other stuff, whatever. Anyway, it's very, very handy. It's been really helpful. Love it. So here's the first version. Let's critique. Observe. The asteroids were the first thing. Look at all the little meatball asteroids. I don't know if you can see them, really, on the screen. Hopefully you can see all the little asteroids in the background. There's a bunch there. And there's a bunch here. All these asteroids, right? You can see just how many asteroids there are. they wanted to have asteroids kind of floating around, and the way the file came, it was using this blueprint to like create thousands of asteroids, and the file was chugging. Like it was so flippin' heavy, ridiculously heavy. Like it was not real time anymore, which was very dumb because like it does not need to be that slow. I don't know what the deal is. It's also like I think it's a bad system because like it's one rock. It's like one rock duplicated a million times. And anyway, um, you could use like a couple different rocks to make it interesting, but whatever. The other thing, so that's the asteroids. That's one problem to solve. I don't know if you can see, but like look at this background. Look at these like starbursts in the background. They're really like overexposed, and like the quality of them is really bad. And so you just see these like a lot of these like big starburst things that didn't look very good. And then this is supposed to be the moon, I think. Well, I don't know if it's supposed to be the moon, but this is what we were using as the moon, I guess. That does not look like the moon. That is the ugliest moon I have ever seen. That's like a weird, moldy moon. And then the last thing I wanted to show is the Earth. The Earth is a super like low res looking texture kind of situation. The main problem I have with it though is the specular of the Earth. Like look at the globe. Look at this big like highlight right here. This hot spot right where my mouse cursor is. It's like the Earth is made of plastic and we're just seeing like a light reflection off the top of it. It should not be this like hazy glossy. So anyway, the artist I was working with had some questions. They were having a hard time with some of those things, and they were wondering how I might tackle some of those problems. And so, moon. And so then I jumped in and I spent like an hour or two helping with some stuff. And I'm going to open up my level sequence. And so I made this whole little thing. So first of all, you can see, I don't know why the Earth keeps turning. I actually did not want the Earth at that particular angle. I'm not trying to look at North America. I was actually trying to look at, there we go. It's supposed to look like this. Yeah, it's supposed to look like that. I wanted to see it at an angle, and I wanted Japan up in the corner, India over on the left, more looking at Pacific Islands here. There, that's what I wanted. Anyways, but you can see that I've changed the earth texture, or not changed the earth texture. I've actually done a lot of stuff with the texture stuff, but I turned it from like, look how the earth looked before, this like kind of glossy marble, to now, look how much cooler that looks. Make it bigger for you. Look how much cooler this looks. You can actually see the lights, and the clouds are moving around, and it looks, I don't know, I think it looks a lot better. My opinion. Hopefully you agree. I also changed the lighting to make it look a lot more cinematic, hopefully. Right, so that's kind of what we're looking at. This is before. That's after. And then the other angle, so then this, when the ship is pointing in this direction, this is what it looked like before. This is supposed to be us heading towards the moon. So I'm just gonna go ahead and play this and you guys can watch. Sound effects are needed. But that's the after. So that was before. And this is my after. And I can hop out and I can find, where's my ship? Here's my ship. So yeah, so there's the ship. I don't love the ship, actually. it's very like smooth material. Like look how perfect and shiny. Like there's a couple smudges here and there, but like overall it's a very like it's a very toy looking ship. It does not look very real. It's just too perfect. So it looks like a action figure toy of a ship. But there's that. There's the Earth, which I think looks a lot better than when it did before. And then there's the moon. And I took the moon from looking like this moldy thing of cheese, like that, to actually looking like the moon. And then there's a planet over there. And then the asteroids, I made this Niagara system. So I actually did use Niagara for this. Let me see if I can get in there. Where's my ship? Let me get closer. Ah! We're in the fire. If I click on these, if I come over here and try to put this where you can see it, maybe I'll go there. So it'll be backlit by the Earth. So they all have a little bit of drift. They're all just kind of like slowly rotating in space. And they're all like random sizes all around and stuff like that. And so that's this. And technically, actually, it's funny. I actually animate the sun between the two shots because I wanted a particular look here and then a different look over here. And so the sun's actually in a slightly different spot. So if I go stare at the sun, or stare at the moon, you can see that the sun is actually in one spot, and then it goes whoosh, and it animates somewhere. There's the sun. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. Flying across the sky with that little white thing, that's the sun. Whoosh, as it changes positions. So on the Earth too. Whoa! As you can see, it changes. Different atmosphere. Because I wanted one look here. And then right here as we're going by it, you can kind of see that the light changes a little bit, but it's so quick and it's at an angle where there's nothing in the background, so we really don't notice that the sunlight changes. So some little filmmaking tricks for you. The other thing, I have some camera shake built into the camera. So if I turn these off, the camera animation is just this. Camera animation just kind of moves to the side. And then I'm going to turn this on here. I just realized I am blocking some of the frame. You guys can't quite see everything I'm doing. I don't know if this is any better. It's smaller, whatever. If I turn the camera shake on, now when the ship flies by, there's a little bit of sort of camera motion as the ship comes by right here. It starts to kind of shake a little, which doesn't make a lot of sense. We're not in fluid of air, so we don't actually have like air turbulence, but it's just what it feels like, so it's fine. And then I add a little bit extra turbulence throughout the whole shot so that it's always a little bit loose and it has a little bit more looseness when the ship goes by. I have yet to fix the particles coming out of the back of the ship. You can see they kind of sputter. They kind of go stop, 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 which I don't like. I don't like that. But I didn't fix that. I haven't gone and done my own rocket fuel stuff to that. And then the other thing I would fix is the actual texture of the ship. Because the ship itself, where did it go? Well, I'm in the fire again. The actual ship texture, I'm not a fan of. So those are the things I would change still, but anyway, that's what I was doing. And then that planet up there, we don't see it, but that planet is currently using a material. I actually had to build a whole material graph. Where's that at? Planet, mesh, planet surface. That's using a material instance based off of this planet material, but I made one that doesn't have emission built into it. So if I go like this, I can fix it right now. If I go to this material planet surface, I go to this thing. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to swap the parent material to the one I swapped, no glow, and there you go. Now it's a planet that's not glowing. So I can undo that, and you can see it's like really glowy. And now it's just regular planet. So I can save that. So now it's just a regular planet. It's not all emissive and bright off in the distance. Yeah. What else was there? There was something else I had to do. The asteroids. The asteroids. I had to build a whole. I suck at materials. Materials are like not my thing. But I had to build and figure out how to build. Where is it? Materials. Asteroid. Nope, not you. Rock? What is it? MM underscore. Did I call it something else? MTL? I don't know what I called it. M underscore rock? Maybe it's this. Yep, it's this. I mean, it's not that complicated, but like I didn't know what the nodes were that I needed, so I was just like guessing and typing things until I figured out what they were called. Like, switch parameter. And there is a desaturate node. And is it a lerp or a multiply that I need? Anyway, it's probably not the best thing out there, but it gives me what I need. Anyway, I'm not here to show you Unreal Engine, but this is just like a thing. It's a thing I did yesterday. This was basically, someone was like, hey, I'm struggling with my shot. Can you help me? And I basically loaded up their shot and I did all this stuff. And because what they're actually responsible for, like what they're responsible for working on was not this. Like this was like a cherry on top. I was able to like basically do all this work and then just kind of save this and recommit the file. And then now it's synchronized back to their computer and they have this to work in now. So they have all my changes to mess with. If they were responsible for doing this themselves, then I could have this would have been just a really good demo. But since this isn't the actual thing they're on the hook for, they can just use what I did and it's fine because I'm working on the project. Like I'm the supervisor for the project. So if I come in and I do all this stuff for them, cool, that's fine. He has other stuff to work on. So it's kind of fun. But yeah, I animated the ship and the camera and all the things and made the camera. Yeah, that's it. That's my little thing I was helping with. So I don't want to save this stuff. Sure, I'll save. So anyway, that was the before. Now you've seen the after. I think it's a lot better. I took a lot of the asteroids out because I think they were unnecessary. There were just too many asteroids. We don't have that many asteroids floating around Earth, and so it just felt distracting. We just want them for a sense of space and depth when we're panning the camera, in my opinion. So got rid of the rest. But yeah. Let's see. I dislike materials and textures as well. I'm not alone. I love texture materials, and I've also fallen in love with shaders in Unreal. Well, see, I'm glad and that's what's so wonderful is that some people like that work, some people hate that, but in the case of Unreal, and with Blender as well, but in Unreal especially, we've got Fab, and so if you make a cool shader and you're really proud of it, I can just download it. I don't have to do it myself. Love that. Please invite me to work on a project. There's gonna be some cool announcements at Lightbox that are yeah, I shall not yet reveal my plans, but at the end of the month, when I'm at Lightbox, I will be announcing some stuff, and there will be some projects to work on for hire, which I've kind of talked about a little bit, and there will also be some fun collaborative project things that I'm going to be announcing for people to participate in. But keep an eye out and fill out the forms. In the description, I've got some forms for, suggestions and requests, things like that, if you're interested in kind of sharing your thoughts on those topics. Fill out those forms just so I can make sure that I'm actually providing resources and things that people want. And we're gonna have giveaways. That's another thing I just saw. This email, I gotta reply to this. Is we've got stuff to give away at Lightbox. I'll have some stuff to give away. We've got some sponsors who are partnering with what I'm doing at Lightbox who are gonna provide some stuff. Um, I completely agree with what Ariana says. One note for the asteroid, they blended in so much in the background, they were almost invisible. I feel like adding some rim lighting would have helped with that a lot. 100% agree. I didn't do, I think the last thing I did last night was I did like whatever asteroid stuff I was doing. And then it was like, okay, I'm 30 minutes over time. Let's stop here. And I didn't even think about that. I remember thinking it like vaguely when I was working. I'm like, oh, they're so dark, you can hardly see them. But because Niagara systems are random seeds, every time you regenerate the scene, they're in different places. The asteroids are actually not in consistent locations. If you're working in Houdini, you can have the same random every time until you manually say, I want a different random, and you change the seed. In Niagara, it's different every time, unless you cache it, which I'm not doing. And so I think at the time, wherever the asteroids were, they were more positioned in front of Earth and in front of the moon, and they're intersecting bright objects, so you could see those particular ones, but you couldn't really see the other ones as well. But they happened to be in a good spot to where I didn't have to worry about it. This time when I loaded it up, they weren't in those spots, and so yeah, they were almost all completely dark. And you're so right. In both cases, rim lighting for the asteroids would have been a great thing actually to make sure you can actually see them. Yeah, I didn't even think to call that out. I should have mentioned that in my class yesterday. But I was talking about so much other stuff. I guess I didn't really think about it. But yes, you're very right. And this is what's so good about collaboration because I can look at something for 3 hours and then not really think about it. And then someone else can be like, we should do that. And I go, you're right. Great call. How long did it take you to make that first animation? Oh, wait. How long did it take you to make the first animation you were proud of? I mean, I think I was proud of my first animation ever. Like, I was much more proud of my first animations than I've ever been of anything I've ever made since. Because at the beginning, you start moving stuff around and it's just like, wow, it's so cool. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And you're doing it, Peter. You're doing it. And you're proud of it because it's cool. And then you start to learn how much you don't know and you start to realize, oh, it's bad. And then you become more critical of yourself. And it's very rare these days that I make stuff that I'm actually proud of. I don't usually have the time to polish stuff to a level where I'm like, this is the best I can do. Yes. I almost never get to take stuff to actual polish because of timelines. And I'm usually not being asked to. I'm usually involved at a sort of a higher level of like getting something working and then handing it off or fixing something or getting it to be good enough to where it's like, nope, that's good enough for the project. That's all we need. All right. And so, you know, the uh the first stuff I ever made, the first assignments I was ever doing and the first animations I was ever really working on, I was always very proud of the stuff I was making. Looking back, I can see how bad most of it was, but I'm still proud of what I had accomplished at the time because it's what set me on the path, right? And there are certain things about those bad animations that I remember putting a lot of time into, and looking back and I watch them and I go, I can still see where the effort went. I can still see I clearly spent the time on these things, and I did a good job at those things because I was thinking about it and I was doing whatever that thing was, and I can still look back and be proud. And even though the animation's like that's pretty weak, but it's like I can look at it and be like, I'm still proud of like the effort that I put into those things because the effort in those areas shows potential. It showed promise for the future, which has now led me to have gotten better since then. So, um, yeah. But I think what you're really asking is how long until I made something that I would have considered good. And I think 18 months or so. I think it took about a year and a half for me to start making stuff that like I could point to now and be like, yeah, this is when I started to figure out what I was doing. This is when I started to kind of get decent at the thing. which is, if you're just starting off, a year and a half sounds like a really far time away, but it's really not. Like think about a year, whatever you were doing a year and a half ago. The time probably flew by. If you're like, if I had started this a year and a half ago, think how much better I'd be at it now. Like, man, like, yeah, if I had known, I would have started a year and a half ago. That's always going to happen. So, a year and a half goes pretty quick. So I think you can get good at things pretty quickly if you do it consistently. Dunning-Kruger effect. What is that? Is that thing where like your knowledge and your opinion of yourself, Druger? What is it called? Dunning-Kruger effect. Yeah, that thing. Let me pull it up. Yeah. Here, I'll share the thing. This. It's confidence versus knowledge. You start something off and you have low knowledge and you're like, "Wow, I'm so good." And you have high confidence, but you have low knowledge. And you're ignorant about how bad you are, but you're excited about it and it keeps you motivated to keep moving forward. And then you realize as you start to learn more, you're like, "Oh my god, I actually know nothing." And then over time, you get better and better and better and better and better, and you never quite have the confidence that you did at the beginning. But that's what keeps you like pushing forward, is because you're able to actually sort of be critical of your work to a certain point. And then here's a funny version. Yeah. Peak of Mount Stupid, Valley of Despair, Slope of Enlightenment, and the Plateau of Sustainability. I think that's good. I spelled this wrong. Yep, that's exactly right. Not unusual to be proud of your first animation art because you don't know what you don't know. Exactly. And that's a beautiful time. The beginning, when you don't know what you don't know, man, think about how confident kids are, like children, like when you think you're invincible and you don't worry about things and you're just like, you just like do stuff. Such confidence. If only we could retain some of that confidence for the future. Do you still have your old animations? Because it'd be interesting to see where you started. Yeah, I do. I've even done a video reacting to my oldest animations on the channel. So if you go on my YouTube channel, um, somewhere. Oh, interesting. Oh, I'm gonna have to do some troubleshooting on this project. Messages. Let's see. What is it called? Old. If I type in old, early. What is it called? Trying to find the channel, the video. First animations. What is it called? Aha! My first 3D animations ever. Minecraft Avengers. Yeah. Yeah, that's rough. Oh, that's terrible, terrible stuff in here. Let me copy and I'll paste it in there. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not even gonna show it on screen. But there you go. There's the link. There's my first animations and I react to them because they're pretty rough. But I still have them. Literally using up as much time as I'm allowed right now before I show my shots to my director because he's gonna final it and then I won't be allowed to polish anymore. Yep. Yep. Once it's done, it's done. A shot is never, what is it? A shot's never finished. It's just due. What's up, Chris? Good afternoon. How you doing? How you been? Just learning 3D animation. I had a lot I don't understand. I feel about myself kind of useless. You'll get better. It gets better. You'll continue to grow and learn, and you'll always have more to learn, but you'll start to feel more capable as time goes on. Well, I'm starting to get messages about this project that I'm working on. Oof. Yeah, the export that I did doesn't seem to be working with the current pipeline. Yeah, because we'd have to retarget it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that. And I can't do that on stream because I can't reveal their project on stream. So let's go over the announcements one last time and we'll wrap it up for the day. Also, I think I'm going to make this a regular thing, at least for this month. I want to see how it goes. So for the month of October, I'm going to stream on Fridays on YouTube. I might do a little bit earlier next time. I was going to do like 10 a.m. Eastern time, but I had stuff that I had to do and I had to push it till later. But anyways, I'm going to do some streaming this month. So, Lightbox. If you're going to Lightbox this month, come see my talk. If you're so interested, if you're so inclined, what I meant to say. I will have a booth 831. I'll be at the conference all weekend. I have a booth where I'll be doing a bunch of cool stuff. We'll have a bunch of resources for animation. This is like the place to be if you're an animator and you're going to Lightbox. I'll have a bunch of stuff going on. We'll have some giveaways. There will be, hopefully, an event that I'm putting together that I can't announce yet because I'm still finalizing some details. But I'm doing some really cool stuff. I'll have a booth. A lot of things at the booth will be happening. And then I'm giving 2 talks. One on Saturday at 4:30 Pacific time. And then one on Sunday in the afternoon at 1 p.m. Unreal Engine 5. So yeah, come to my talks. Come to my booth. Pay attention to the other announcements that I'm going to be doing. And check the description of this video because I've got a form for you to fill out if you're interested. I've got a wait, how do I preview the actual form? This button. Yeah. I have a, this is how you can see I have the link to my Lightbox stuff, but I've got a form if you want to just submit some requests, basically just like, oh, what days are you going? What are your plans? And I'm just looking for some insight if you have any requests or ideas that you'd like me to incorporate into what I'm doing. There's that. And then there's another form that only a couple people have filled out. But if you're curious about animation stuff, I'll have a lot of announcements at Lightbox for classes. But if you're interested in the next wave of classes, I'm going to have a bunch of stuff coming. So you can come here and check out, basically just say what you're interested in. And I've got a bunch of stuff. Let me know if you're interested in certain topics, body mechanics and the regular stuff, some facial animation, lip sync stuff. If you're interested in motion capture, game animation, creature stuff, so on. Or if you have any other requests of stuff that's not listed here, please let me know. So it's all linked down below. Now, where is the chat? See if there's any final questions. Now is the time for final questions because... Oh, hold on. My scene scale. Rotated, however, that is all. That's all it is. Okay. I got a freelance animation thing I gotta work on, and I gotta solve some problems. Anyways, final questions. Final questions. Now is the time. And then you'll have to wait until next Friday when we do another stream. Oh, good things. Recently finished a short film, heading to Lightbox for the very first time, so life is good. That's awesome. I'll see you there then. Streaming at 10 Eastern is 7 Pacific. Yep. Which animation software is your... Also, I skimmed over this, but Chris, where is your short film going? You finished a short film, where's that going? Is it online? Going to festivals? Where can I see it? Which animation software is your favorite? Right now, it's Unreal. Maya's an old staple, right? Blender's great, but right now Unreal is my favorite animation tool. It is for sure the coolest, and it's the most interesting, and it's changing the fastest, and it's just really cool and fun to use. So I'm actually doing most of my character animation in Unreal at the moment. I'm challenging myself to do that pretty consistently so that I can get really good at it. I mean, I'm already decent at it, but I'm trying to like get really good at it. I'm trying to get as comfortable in Unreal as I am in like Maya. So, but I do a lot of Epic. I do a lot of animation training in Unreal for Epic Games. So I'm actually working with Epic to do a lot of the training. So if anyone's ever trying to learn Unreal, you know who to call, or whose channel to go to, or what classes to sign up for. And for the record, I think as far as I'm aware, I may or may not be the only, I may or may not be the only Unreal animation focused classes so far. And if there are others who are doing it, there's a good chance that I taught them too. I'm not claiming that I am the one who told everybody the stuff. Like, I've learned a lot from other people as well. But there are certain programs and schools that are putting together putting together Unreal curriculums and trainings. And a lot of them came to me first to get some help with those curriculums, or the people that they got to help them with their curriculums are people that I taught. And it's a nice little badge of honor. So I'm not the original source of all the information, but I'm about as close as you can get. So that's me. That's me trying to market myself and plug myself a little bit, as I don't do very often, but you know, I'm trying. Ouch. Is it hard to be a freelancer? Yeah, because it's hard to, you have to know people. You have to know people and have a network to get work from. Work doesn't usually just fall into your lap without some kind of awareness or network, and that's the hard part, is to kind of build that. And it's a lot of work. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being here. I'm able to take over Maya at some point. Yeah, I think so too. I'm psyched to learn so much more about animating Unreal. It's gonna be great. It's really cool. Yeah, I've got some cool stuff to announce towards the end of the month. I will be showing a lot of that stuff at Lightbox. So if you're curious about that, come to my Lightbox talk. All right, thanks everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out in the live. This video will stay on the channel. I don't see any reason to make it unlisted at this point, so you can come back and rewatch parts of this if you came late or you want to see some of the stuff that I did or whatever. If you just want to have a nice second screen experience while you do other work. But have a good one. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you in a week if you want to come back. We're going to do this on next Friday too. Every Friday for the month, except for maybe the last Friday because that's Lightbox, and I don't know if I can stream at Lightbox because I don't know what the internet situation is. So see you next week. Thanks, everybody.